Now your video's back now. Okay, so by all means there, right? You've got quite a lot of questions there, and fire away, and I'll do my best to address every single one of them.
All right, I did write some questions down.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here they are. Okay. Let me place my camera. All right.
Okay. Beautiful.
It's great to meet you face to face, guys.
Yes, brother.
A lot of the things that you say and talk about resonates with me in ways that it's hard to explain, and also throughout my experiences in life and all the research and teachings that I've seeked out, I've managed to get a pretty deep understanding of a lot of things that you say. And it's always nice to be able to connect spiritual links spiritually with like people.
Yes.
So, all right. So essentially, the Merkaba, like you were talking about, I think on one of your shows or one of your interviews. My question is, or one of my theories is, and I'm just asking your opinion, I suppose.
Sure.
As far as the gender principle being a symbol for the Merkaba, and within that symbol, you have two triangles overlaid, theoretically overlaid. They don't really have to be overlaid. It can be drawn just like that.
Yep.
But in respect to magnetism, one triangle being a masculine, the other triangle being a feminine, placed symmetrically in a perfect spin, magnetically speaking, without gravity, would that be synonymous to no resistance, something that would spin eternally?
Okay. I can address that. For a start, triangles and pyramids are not naturally occurring objects in nature, full stop.
Okay.
Secondary, inorganic, sacred geometry shapes, where with the word sacred, you get the anagram of scared, guard, that's confused tongue, occult sort of fuckery, where they've got many different meanings for the same sound. Now with Mudja language, the original language is organic. You have same root sound for the one meaning. And then you have suffixes and prefixes that basically say, okay, I've got a cup here. Okay, that cup is, okay? Now, I've got a spoon somewhere, okay? Oh, okay, this is the spoon at the moment for the sake of just demonstration. I've got the spoon beside the cup, above the cup, beneath the cup. You see what I mean? The sound is the same, the expression of it, with the suffix and everything through the music of the language, changes to express that. So you're expressing what you're communicating through the actual music itself. Now, this is the original Mudja language is music, okay? And it's got a wider frequency and vibration range than when they basically got the language, the Mudja language and all language, confused tongue languages, they compressed it down to a much narrow frequency and vibration range to literally express life through, okay? And that makes it so much more difficult. And it makes it more of a linear and cyclic sort of communication that's actually a fiction construct, because there's no such thing as linear cyclical time. Okay, that's a fiction construct. It's created of the mind. And as soon as you think in the mind is outside of the present moment of now, where all information is. Okay, it's organic. Okay, that's connected with your soul center and the magnetism. And what's in your soul center in the gut, it's connecting you with all the information there, the appendix. Okay, but if you're outside of that moment of now in your brain, okay, you're just a spectator. You're just a vicarious analyst. That's a hobbyist and theorist. And you don't get to know music or energy or linguistics, that you can only know because your energy. And if you're not feeling with your soul through that energy to know it, you don't know it. You don't know it first party, first hand. You're just an intellectual sort of quackademic.
I call him an alien.
Yeah, you're vicariously analysing patterns and stuff with all this quantum stuff, thinking, oh yeah, I know this because I'm analysing patterns. But do you actually know it? Not just because you intellectually know it, because intellectualism means fucking nothing at all unless it is directly, specifically, precisely poignant to any present moment of now that is spontaneous. And that's it. That's the bottom line. So you can learn all this intellectual knowledge. It's fucking useless unless you can make it poignant here now and the proactive now and action taking. Okay? You can't just know it and be willing to do it, because if you stay in your mind, you're just going to procrastinate and find excuses to stay in that comfort level of being discomfortable all the time in the mind. You actually got to go through it. You've got to get through the illusion of fear, which is a liar. You got to get through the illusion of pain that gets magnified when you're stuck in your head. You've got this echo chamber that's going, okay? When you come into the present now, you can be focused and soul-centered. And you've got all your conscious fluid abilities through the magnetism to know stuff immediately, straight away with your gut before you can even see it. Now then when you get the glyphs and the symbols, 2, 3D symbols are meant to indicate the sound that comes before it. So it indicates the sound that you do with your voice box that comes before that symbol, before you actually see it with your fisheye. You should feel it to then see it. Right. Because your sight is the last in your line of senses, and it's the most easily hackable. So that's what they do. They get us to focus all life from the brain and then the third eye. Now, the third eye is set up in the head in the way that it is with the pineal. It's all been genetically butchered and altered to become a Hollywood Disney movie studio in our head, where the pineal, it's meant to be on top of the head, where it was its first Homo sapiens. Now, that's an ultra high frequency antenna and radar. It connects with birds, do tapping sounds, stuff like that.
Exactly. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to get to.
You know?
It does have a purpose in nature.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're putting an ultra high frequency antenna in the fucking head where it's not supposed to be, and you're then manipulating that to use it as a linear projector, okay? It's this noisy 2-stroke fucking lawnmower. It's being used as a film projector engine to linear project the third eye, or the pineal, onto the third eye plasma Disney Hollywood movie screen. That's your third eye. Well, that's a fiction construct, okay? But they're getting you to then manifest into nature to suffocate the organic here and now present spontaneous reality.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, but that's what's going on there, because the third eye, any unconscionable arsehole can use it. That should be a red flag straight away. Okay, any psychic trickster can play psychic tricks on you using the third eye. You just log straight in there. Oh, a little bit of friction breathing here, feeling there, you're straight in the third eye. And then they get you to control your gut and everything else from here. Now that third eye and the 7 chakras, as I call them crab claws, that's an inorganic overlay on the existing medicine wheel system we have in our body. It's all magnetic. It works with the endocannabinoid receptors as well. And you have 19 main medicine wheels, okay, that operate as magnetic pulleys, okay, that project and attract magnetism so you can actually heal your body and sew it back into place when you're injured. Wow. Yeah, we can all self-heal ourselves with our own magnetism. And once you get that magnetic flow happening, you can move your body around like Play-Doh, like clay, Jello. Because when you've got the magnetism, you've got the air and the cushion and the space to not injure yourself. And how do you do it so you don't harm yourself? You do it in musical omnity, which is musical harmonic rhythm. And how do you get that harmonic rhythm? By remaining present in the moment of now. Your hearing extends, and there's a fine hum of nature. It's got a rhythm, it's got a groove, and it's actually got a harmonic basis that you can hear. And then you go,
Wow.
Then I get my body, I start moving in musical omnity with that. And when you do that and you heal your body, and then you move the sound through your injuries and stuff like that.
Do you literally hear it? Do you really literally hear the electromagnetic field?
To be that present in the moment of now, to start hearing it and to actually feel the magnetism in nature. Now,
what does that?
We've programmed the world to be outside of the present moment of now, in the mind, okay? And hence that's why people are programmed as clockwork, because clockwork is a fiction construct, not of the present here and now as well. So if you can remain in the present here and now, you can override all that fucking fiction bullshit and just deal with the here and now and remain chilled out in the here and now. And yeah, you can focus your anger, your joy through that, but it's not reactive sort of anger and joy.
Right.
Okay? It is genuine in the sense of you have every right to be pissed off at what's been done to us, all the sadistic torture and this, that, and the other. However, they'll keep on poking you into the ribs and throwing any shit at you to get out of this moment of now, back into the duality schism, bipolar, schizophrenic state of being. That's not natural. That's what happens. You end up as a victim or victimizer in that feedback loop.
God, let me ask.
They fold the circle. What's the circle? The asymmetrical circle. That's the feminine principle. And they fold that into an infinity symbol. It's a fake infinity symbol. And that's torturing the feminine principle. It's horrible. And then when they torture it to the point of death, they get all that horrible, the woman's energy, because the woman's magnetism is much stronger than the man's in this domain. And when they torture her and kill her in a sex ritual and then put that energy towards their 9/11 disaster resets, that's how they get so much fucking power in it. So if we stop torturing the feminine, now how do we do that? Stop using their fucking over-masculinized angular shapes and sharp objects, points of harm. Because you look at a fractal, that's a little fucking dagger. You think the universe was created with fucking, fractal daggers? Get fucked. It's like, how could the Dracos and the Reptoids be that much older than when they're the parasite? What were they fucking hosting off then? Bang. All that literature you see online and everything, just gone in 1 month like that. Pure common sense. Okay? The sheer natural science of the soul, where you keep on asking questions until something presents itself evidently and clearly as true, whether it be unseen or seen. Because the unseen world and the seen world is always being symbiotically as one. There's no duality. And in physical reality, we're separate in physical reality as male and female, but when we're centered in ourselves, we're both. So we have empathy for the other sex, that we're different but compatible energies that work symbiotically together, procreatively. So when the feminine and the masculine come together in physical reality, it affects all other realms that are infinite of this whole organic omniverse, okay? It's living and breathing. So all the rocks are living and breathing, all the plants are living and breathing, the same with the animals. And we're meant to keep the physicality of all of that intact. And it's very easy. All we do is by delivering magnetism through the musical omnity that we have. The music is inherent inside us. And when we send it down song lines, now I'm playing my subharmonic range because it's what I am in nature, in my essence. Originally, before this fucking fiction name game, I'm a roots manager. From everything from the hardcore solid roots to the really fine root fibers right at the end. I've got to be able to look at it delicately and fragile as well as hardcore strong as well. You've got all this dynamic to you. Now, you can't access all of that until you're centered, okay? And do it in a creative way that's procreative. If you're doing things reactively, if you look at the sound data, okay, for a frequency, whether it's a low frequency, a mid frequency, or a high frequency, and it's of a Kabbalah musical frequency, you'll notice that that frequency has got sharp, jagged spikes to the actual sound of the data. Like you look at it. And then when you look at something that's well recorded, that's of source frequency, it's got big rounded, curved waves, sine waves, and things like that that are healing, that feel good. However, if that music is not magnetized and properly grounded, that's going to have spikes to it as well. So we know A equals 440. That's all really distorted and horrible. Then you go A equals 432. Okay, that's closer, but still no cigar, because you look at the cymatics of A equals 432. Okay, it's much prettier sort of organized patterns. Like basically if you put sand on a sound speaker and you play 432 tones through the speaker, yeah, that sand is going to organize itself in shapes. So that shows you that the sound comes first before the actual light language sort of symbol archetype that indicates that sound that comes before it. It's not a light language.
So are these shapes being broadcasted?
Well, the thing is, even those shapes are still too angular in 432, even though they're better than 440. So just add 1, 433, you ground it, it brings it to 10, okay? Because 432 numerologically adds up to 9. What's 9? The symbol for the 9. A head, okay, in Phoenician, 9. It basically got distorted when from the Hebrew language, okay, which is all the shadow language, which are all shadow symbols that come off the Giza pyramid when you shine a light down from the Ben in 22 portions in a 360-degree spun circumspect. Now, the thing is, even spin is inorganic. You actually have to spin it yourself to make the spin. Otherwise, the spin does not occur naturally in nature. Now, people might say, well, sorry, we see vortexes in the water all the time. Yeah, that's because they've got the fucking moon basically fucking up the water every month. It's an orgone van, okay?
Wow.
If we basically sort out the moon day cycle, which I have, then basically we calm the waters again. The waters are all meant to be calm, but vivacious and bubbling and full of passion and life. And hence we can bounce on that water, bounce on the land. We don't get injured. We musically, with omnity, we're literally swimming in the sea of love.
Okay.
Because water is hydrogen, magnetism, that's essentially a feminine thing in the physical, water and air, where earth and fire are predominantly masculine. But all of those 4 elements are equally masculine and feminine too. It's just that there's some males that are better at assisting predominantly feminine things in the physical, and there's some females that are better at supporting male things that are more structural and architectural and engineering, that are holding the support for the body of the tree, the flowers and the leaves and everything else, the fruits. So basically, so the feminine can reach into all infinite aspects of organic creation to feed it with magnetism. And so the male has to be strong enough but flexible enough to follow the female so it can do that, okay? And that's how it symbiotically works. Now, if you have a look in the omniverse, in pure volume, there's actually 2/3 more feminine than there is to 1/3 masculine. Now, people are going to say straight up, well, that's not equal. Well, sorry, it is equal because you're not considering one thing. One word, density. The masculine density is that much more hardcore. So that 1/3 masculine density is equal to that 2/3 of feminine density. It's a much lighter touch, but it's the light touch that controls from the essences, okay, and the smells and things like that, that actually control the biggest forces. And you've got to have that light touch. It's like whenever you've got a big problem, you need a light touch to sort it out. Whenever you've got a small problem, quite often, yeah, it's the opposite. You know, you can sort it out very quickly, very assertively, very affirmatively. But the whole thing about the masculine, the female magnetism, when a female is not polarized and she's in a natural magnetized state, you will instantly like that, know something straight from her gut. Okay, that's the power of the magnetism before they can even see it. They just know what it is. And our job as a male in co-creation there, we bring that abstract back into logic and we go, okay, this is what we've got to do. This is what I've got to do to support her to do what she's got to do now that she's located this and this and this, okay, to solve this problem in this situation. Okay, this is what I back her up with and give her the strength so she can basically do her job properly. So that's the thing. The masculine puts the female before him. Female does the same. That's how we have equal respect and co-creation, that we're different but compatible energies. It's that similar. Now, the problem is with Kabbalah, look at the word metaphysics. What does meta mean in Hebrew?
Death.
There you go. What does it mean in classical Greek? Same thing, really. It means gone, as in finished, dead. Okay? So they're literally calling it death physics in your face, thinking that we're not going to work out the occult significance because we're hiding behind veils. We're looking at things from the mind in the back blocks because we're too scared to be that present here and now to deal with real reality, have connection to this. And those top controlling people of the Illuminati, the 9 people that control the rest of them, that basically put them through the trauma-based mind controllers, all us mudgers, okay, so they keep us under a chain, so we give them our energy so that they can basically make a further joke out of life with, and desecrate it. Well, sorry, you Illuminatis are gullibly fucking fooled too, because these 9 people control all your fucking gods, your reptoid gods that they get you to pray to and get energy from. 9 people in the physical. Why? Because life is controlled from the physical. That's it. And all other realms of life and existence is affected from the physical. That's why when the feminine and the male come together procreatively in every sense, on the human level, I should say Schumann level, okay, to the animal level and the nature level, that's why when they come together in the physical, the real magic happens, okay, of procreation. However, even as masculine and feminine in separation physically, energetically and magnetically, we're always one soul. One magnetism, one love. The Rosters get it right. They still know the truth. And originally, we're all meant to be nature custodians, so we're all meant to be shamans of the Schumann race. If you look at Sumeria in English, or if you pronounce S in Mudger, it's SH sound. Sumeria. Schumann. And they call it the Schumann resonance, but spell it in German with a SCH. U-A-double-M or whatever. Put an N at the end or whatever, how they spell it in German. But it's the same sound though. That's what confused tongues is about. And it's like we're all meant to be shamans because shamans know everything, know how life works, and even paradigm science here. It's all incorrect in the matrix that's drip fed, okay, by these 9 people in the Illuminati. That's always catching up to what shamans have known since before artificial time. Fiction construct was basically foisted into our existence. Okay, in the last 108 years, we've been put through a split timeline blender. It's put us through like 1 million years, roughly speaking, so as to basically get us to forget who we are and what our roots are. And so they can constantly recycle us over and over again through astral purgatory of their fake heaven and hell through that, to program us to do the action making them in the physical. If you look at it, if these ET races, and that are all reptoids, Draco reptoids, okay? If all of them could do it in the physical, why would they need us to do it for them?
Because they've been cut off.
Well, they're disincarnate, right? Okay? There was a time that they used to be here side by side in Atlantean times, the first run of it, that never existed before this split timeline thing, okay? There was a time they lived side by side by us, but at a certain point, they all went into the 4D astral because they could, okay? Because Azazel, one of their fucking devils, Christian devils sort of things, basically spelled DNA into everything physical in the 56 to 54 BC reset, okay? Now, this is getting pretty out there, but it will make more sense of the chronology once people realise that our whole reality has been retroactively changed by time travel, by them inserting their fake fucking Enki in their little sort of incest script that's literally taken off the original Mudger story but perverted into their bullshit. And then they literally replay that script. The same actors, different actor names, different theatre genetic costumes in different survival locations all over the earth, okay? They move from one to the other, and once they basically destroy one movie set, okay, they've finished all that, they do a 9/11 reset, and they use this elect technology to copy and paste everything over to another reset, kill the original central soul aspect of the original Mother Ishtar, to basically enable that copy and paste to happen over, and then they start again. And then everyone wakes up in, okay, different bodies again, slightly different, or genetic costumes, different sort of environment of another fake sort of Truman Show, sort of Matrix sort of thing that gets us to distract us into a faux pas life while they're insidiously farming all of our precious soul energy to then pull it up to manifest the dystopian future that they want. So it's all about energy. Forget about all the drama, soap opera stuff on top of that. Once you know, it's all about energy, and it's about honoring the magnetism. And once you know and feel the magnetism, then you can actually know how to function and operate properly through life. But that takes through being present in the moment of now. You can't do that from the back blocks in the mind.
Right, in a reactionary state.
But because someone can feel the magnetism so much, and you can literally sway in the magnetism in the present moment now and get the magnetism to heal your body, and you start doing this, and you look like an idiot to them because they're in the mind black blocks, and they're conditioned with intellectually colonized information. Oh, that's crazy. No, it's not. That person is so in the present here and now that they can feel every little hair of vibration, of magnetism that's there. They can move with it. And I can prove it because I can go into that mode and then back to this mode and show that I'm totally fucking sane. They can't do that. I can sing this old language. Now, who's heard that in this day and age? Who's heard a human voice do that? That rich, that music. Now, they call that...
When I hear you,
and of low vibration and blah, blah, blah. Sorry, not all low vibrations are bad. It's only the one with spiked sounds. Have a look at the raw sound data. Have you ever done sound engineering production? That won't lie to you. You look at a low frequency that adds up numerologically to 10, like 6.76 hertz, which is a nice relaxing frequency. And that's like... Now, does that feel bad? No. It's a low frequency. It's a subharmonic frequency. But everyone has been fooled gullibly into thinking, oh, that everything that's dark, oh, that's bad. And everything that's good, that's so fucking stupid. And then everything electrical charge, okay, is either positive or negative, and they equate the masculine with positive and the feminine with negative. Okay, that's stupid. The whole of creation is equally feminine principle and masculine principle, asymmetrical circle, line, but equalized in curves. Everything. Go and look at anything organic. You'll never see a perfect straight line. You'll never see an asymmetrical circle. Okay? Go and have a look at a Moreton Bay fig tree here in Australia. Real name here is Kyanana tree. Yeah, it's a spirit mother tree. There's guardians in some of them. They're organic portals you can go through, but you can't go through that unless it recognizes your genetic signature and that you have the consciousness to go with it. That's it. And they've never been able to hack that because they can't hack anything that's of the magnetism because they can't be the magnetism because it's too healing for them. It heals their toxicity and forces them to stop weaponizing their pain to stay in the moment so they can keep on doing unconscionable things. And literally, it extracts their head out of their fucking ass and you rub it straight into their fucking gut, and hence they have a crisis of conscience finally. And then they realize, yes, this is self-inflicted, what they've done to themselves. This is narcissistic. It's self-serving, incredibly selfish, and to the point, it's so degenerate and decrepit that there's not enough words in this confused tongue, bumblish language to even describe it aptly, because bumblish was created as a commercial term-based language to sell souls with and trade bodies with on the stock market, casino, through birth certificate trading and all the rest of it. They fraudulently do. They generate a social security number.
We'll talk about that sometime.
So then they take the piss further and say, oh, we'll get them to speak and communicate and work out their reality from the very language that we use to sell them in. So they're taking the piss the whole fucking way. And once you realise that, and that this is all a fiction construct, Truman Show thing that's got nothing to do with that real reality, and that your energy, predominantly of magnetism, okay? And once you know how your body circuitry works, most of the rest after that is a complete fucking distraction, okay? And got nothing to do with any real reality, because your body is the organic technology that's the microcosm of the Earth body macrocosm, and then the Milky Way galaxy macrocosm, and then eventually to the omniversal body macrocosm that's all equally feminine and masculine, entwined in an embrace, in curves, procreating. It's like the act of making love and nudity and all that sort of thing is no big deal. It's natural. And they make it like taboo, so they get a perverse sort of thing off it. And then to basically control the Christian manual and all the other spiritual manuals to say, oh, you're not allowed to touch yourself, you're not allowed to do this, not allowed to do anything, you have to be repressed. And then they say, look at the Christians, they lead a square and boring lifestyle. No, you're the square, boring fuckwits that basically have dumped and projected your original sin condition of ruining the original perfect created design creation back in the day when we were sea life, okay, because we do come from the sea. So it's actually more, it's more better to be sea life, because when you're in water, you can't injure yourself, can you? You've got that instant omni-magnetic, frictionless ability to move and be free. Now, we're meant to be free. We're not meant to be repressed, but we're meant to be conscionable at the same time. So Satanism is everything that Mudger is, except take out the unconscionability of Satanism, bring in the ethical conscionability of it, okay? And you're meant to be free. You're meant to do what you want. Now, that means in Mudger, that which cannot be destroyed, which is referring to the soul. And that's the sound of the dandelion pollen ball, okay? So they use that in an occult way, like Aleister Crowley goes, do what thou wilt, do what thou want, okay? And they're using an original core creation component, one, sound, to basically twist and pervert their sort of occult, sort of unconscionable behavior with something that's of core creation value. So hence one, want, okay? So, yeah, that's it, brother. Yeah. And you've got the range too. You've got the range to do it. Now, that's only going to get better and better the more you heal your body and your consciousness, because that's the thing. You have to have a clean, non-toxic body and a clean, non-toxic consciousness, because that's how this body, organic technology, was perfectly designed to be. Not so that any arsehole can use it, because there weren't any arseholes initially. So that's why arseholes can't use it. They had to create a third eye system to use that does psychic fucking tricks and puts the vision thing first. Sorry, but the real creation ordered sequence is you feel first and you hear first if you know how to listen, okay? Then you have smell, then you have taste. But if you're not listening with your ears, that first primary hearing thing goes to fall, okay? So if you're just a standard person in the mainstream that doesn't listen to sound, doesn't listen to music, to basically identify stuff through it, well, sound goes to your fourth level of senses. And then after that is sight, all forms of sight. But then after that, okay, with all of these basic senses, why just use them in a mono sense? With your eyes. Why be mono sense in a universe, mono culture? That's all faggot. That's them. They want everything compressed down in this simple babble sort of monotone language sort of crap. But life's not like that.
Very interesting.
You don't just see with your eyes. You feel with your eyes. You taste with your eyes. You smell with your eyes.
I've had those same thoughts.
Now, as soon as you become omnisensible in every single one of your senses, look how much just that conscious realization makes you that much more consciously fluid and intelligent.
Well, it shows you so much of the intricacy with nature and everything else in the omniverse.
Yeah, there's so many more wider textures and landscapes of feeling in life, okay, that you can only see if you're, seeing isn't believing if you're soul blind, because if you're just seeing in a monosense way, okay, you're only seeing 4% of the whole reality that's in front of you. There's a whole 96% of unseen reality that you're not getting access to, that you're not conscious of, that's you can actually see. It's right in front of you, but because you're not conscious of it, you don't see it.
Right.
So seeing's not believing. You should never believe in anything anyway, because believing is guesswork, okay? You look at the word believe, it's got lie in the middle of it, right? Now,
Yeah.
it's not necessary to believe, but it is necessary to know. And how do you know? Is when you feel it to be real. That's when you know something is real through your senses, like your conscious intelligence, your source consciousness inside you that's magnetic. It is experiencing what it's not. And that's through the physicality and the senses to know that it's real, and vice versa with the actual physical. So that's a symbiotic relationship too. It's not separate, okay? Now with Kabbalah, everything is separated into duality and compartmentalization. They're constantly cutting circles. What's cutting circles? Cutting the feminine principle. It's horrible. It's what coward, weakling, bully, faggots do. How can you do that to a woman just because you're stronger than them in the physical? You're meant to be fucking looking after them so they can do their job and give their unconditional love of magnetism to all nature.
So would you say,
would you cut that down from the woman? It's like they're far more powerful than you in the magnetism, but just because you have the physical brawn and strength to put it over them, that is so despicable and decrepit. And all of you satanic fucking Jews out there, you fucking get your shit together. Because there's no such thing as two fixed poles in fucking space. Okay? Is the sun bipolar? How fucking ridiculous. It's omnipolar. It's interpolar. Like, look at the Joanna.
it's like having two popes.
That looks at things from all sides. It literally looks at life at all sides of things. It doesn't miss a trick. That's what you've got to do with the star map and the stars. You've got to look at things from all angles around it, not angles, sides rather. So you can see all of life. If you're only looking at life from one perspective, how are you going to know it?
What are your thoughts
about vicariously analyzing stuff? Intellectually colonized third-party information given to you as an intellectual, all this quantum stuff, forget about that. Have the guts.
Well, and the quantum is not that difficult.
Feel through the music, feel through the linguistics, and actually know what it is, because you are energy. How else are you going to know it? Your mind is not connected as a sense to all those things. Okay, your mind is not connected to the present here and now. However, when you come through your gut first, you center so your mind can. And when your mind, you choose for your mind to act as a processor of whatever the soul uploads to do the physical commands to actually make it happen, because that's what the brain does, okay?
Well, not knowing the quantum is,
then the brain
is essentially
become consciously self-mastered to what the all-knowing soul already knows from all your past lives. So why relearn everything again when all you can do, work out ways that you can remember all the information you already have that you know by feel. You know by feel from all your past lives that they've shut us down from, because they've genetically altered us by putting all these DNA code locks on and off switches on our chromosomes, so we can't actually linearly get through to it. There's a way past that. You go omni. You center yourself and you get inside the magnetism, and that magnetism gets right under the rug. All those DNA code locks get straight into your chromosomes, and you can magnetically just bust off all those DNA code locks. So you got access to all what they call the junk DNA, which is really all your missing information. So you know how to become sovereign and emancipated from all this fucking faggotry bullshit. It's all Kabbalah fucking death mechanics.
So what are the prime
express itself, let alone come into existence through number crunching? That's all mentalist fucking rubbish.
Right.
It's outside of the present moment of now. How would creation ever come into being?
Mathematical.
Yeah. Does the omniverse itself, does it express itself in symbol archetype of fucking, numerical digit? Okay, and numerical digits are pseudo pictures, pseudo diagrams, false images, because the natural math was already in the Madhya language and the music itself. We didn't need to double up with phony fucking pictures that say the same thing just because you can create a cheap photocopy abracadabra and basically make a more mutated image and go, look, oh, this is all new. No, you created rubbish in the first place by scanning the original organic template, okay, to make it a cheap fucking copy, photocopy, okay? But that photo, you then go image to image, abracadabra in Madhya, means image to image. They got some bullshit fucking mystical thing in Hebrew, what it says, it's wrong. It's a perversion, okay? And that image to image is photo to copy, okay? And that copy ends up as decorated rubbish. You got rubbish to decorated rubbish. Photo, copy. Very clear. Very
so many different ways to say the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm saying it in the most simplest way because most people have only met themselves at a pretty superficial mental level, okay? Where people are mind controlled to be focused on how it looks like, the aesthetic, the narcissistic vein. Oh, as long as I look good and I've got my lipstick on and this, that, and the other, and I shave and I do this. Well, sorry, this here, this is a tool for magnetism. Our strength is in our hair. They even say it in some of the These are the finest magnetic antennas that you can be using.
That's exactly what I say, man.
Okay, so this is actually a magnetic tool, this beard, okay, in us males. We're meant to be hairy and wild, so we can actually generate all the gases and forces and things like that. So when we give to the woman in procreation, everything we got in that regard, and we're the magnetic projectors, okay, and they're the magnetic attractants. Now, when a woman, with all that magnetism that she attracts from us, when she is not polarized, okay, same with men, but when she's not polarized and she's centered herself, she gives 100% of everything she receives magnetically from the male principle of nature, and she lights up the whole omniverse and gives energy for all light to exist. That's what the solar sun is about. And they're trying to say that Jesus is the fucking sun up there. Fuck off with all your stupid satanic, Yahudi, fucking Saturnalia, Roman cult, fucking bullshit, faggotry, astrotheology. You just basically created the Christian fucking story that was modeled on the Piso fucking family at the time, because the real Mudgeg man, that the whole Jesus theatrical thing was based on, never had fucking disciples. He had family, he had never had disciples. Those disciples are just different grey casts of that fucking Piso family that ended up the Peso in fucking Spain or whatever, okay? Now, this is the thing. There's so much to look at here. Even the name Jesus, okay, comes from Iesus in Greek, Coptic, okay? Where did the Iesus come from? It comes from Iesu. Take the S off. Who were the Iesu? They were the top homosexual fucking Melchizedek priests of the Atlantean fucking faggotry homosexual secret society coven order, okay? So the name Jesus comes from a homosexual inference from a start, and people don't even know it. And they're laughing at you all. And they've given you Christians your fucking manual, okay? The Bible from the start. It's fucking false.
There's a lot of
panic, because despite all the great Christian scientists out there that work out all the right stuff, they still think that Jesus is going to come and save them. No, that's such a heavy program. You're meant to save yourself. You're meant to be your own dog. We're all meant to be our own dogs, okay? Own loyal best friends, independently work it out for ourselves, nurture our own garden so we can live by ourselves. And we come into a relationship with the rest of the family, we all have this attitude. Then we join together as family soul, singing songlines, down the earth, so we can magnetize all nature, so we can live off the essences and keep the physicality intact, and then everything evolves properly together. Well, basically speaking, that's it. That's how life works. Life is music. And then you simplify it down to all I've got to do is feel the music, the harmonic rhythm, musical omnity of nature, and then I'm actually in time with the timelessness of nature that's spontaneous and present in here and now, in any moment of now. And then once we just focus on that rhythm and then all the notes, the sounds, that's all we've got to do is focus on the music, get that right, feel. We don't have to think about all this extraneous sort of intellectual crap on top of that. Because it's like anything you learn today, like a musical instrument or artistry, anything like that. If you learn the intellectual information on how to do it, or the intellectual language and everything like that's more complicated than what's fucking going on. So hence, once you learn it intellectually, you still got to bring that intellect back to intuition and instinct before you actually know it.
Yeah, you got to feel it in the body.
Until you know it by instinct and second nature, so you don't have to think about it, well, you haven't mastered it and you can't even improvise with it. It's like you don't know your craft, like music or art or whatever it is, until you can improvise it on the spot and do something right here and now. And just go, ooh. Music I'm moving that sound and the music around the injuries in my gut here. Now, that's not for performance value. That's not entertainment. That's real living. That's life. And we love doing it. And at first, you're a little rusty. But then the rust irons out. You do that for 2-3 hours internally in science. And then you start humming it. And then you start singing it out to the song lines. That gets real powerful. And everyone is in that one groove together. Okay? And the more,
Interesting.
if I was to do this whole thing, just the ceremony, you'll see that. Okay? But I'm doing it right here and now. I don't care how rough it may be or how smooth it may be. I'm showing you that it's real. Okay? And the fact that you can actually feel it. When you feel that magnetism of all the omniverse, when you consciously and proactively connect with your magnetism, with all the omniversal magnetism, how's that done? You connect with the primary elements of nature. And once you connect with the primary elements of nature that are magnetic, they're primary elements, they're magnetic, they're not electric. That comes later. There's step down secondary stuff. Okay? Then you can feel the vastness of the whole ocean and the strength and the weight of it with you as this drop here. Okay? You want to do a 1-inch punch? That's what he does. He gets the weight of that whole ocean behind him first and feels it before he even moves that 1 inch. Okay? Just for demonstration. Now, once you feel that vastness of all creation like that and that strength, and you're that poised, well, then in that stillness, everything opens up. And the slightest little subtle, fragile movement, that woman-like touch, okay, it's magnetic. Okay, that controls and handles the biggest forces musically. And this is where the Tai Chi comes in. It's all musical. Tai Chi is as boring as all fuck if it's just technical exercises. You add the music to it, it's a piece of cake. I haven't even learned it in this lifetime, but I know it all from previous lifetimes. And you can, people have seen it in my movements. They say all the time, you know Tai Chi. I said, yeah, I've learned it before. All I got to do is feel it musically and it just happens naturally. That is the way to do it. Do it.
You do the same.
Feel and you know. Why really learn it all again in techniques and intellectual stuff that you've got to bring back to intuition and instinct anyway? Just go straight to this and ask your soul, how do I do it? And then get your brain to be the student of the teacher, the all-knowing soul. That's what the Magi do, okay? From a young age. The elder Magi teach the young Magi, this is what you've got to do. You always got to be the student and the master at the same time. It gives you the self-discipline to never lie to yourself. So hence you're not going to lie to others. So you can know how this organic technology works. Because in ancient times, soul centering is the way of life. It's the status quo. So if you didn't know how to soul center, you couldn't read the stars or a star map to basically know where you are and to navigate the sand, the lands and seas below them. Because that is the one fixed rule about reading the stars and astrological constellations and astronomical configurations. All of them denote land and sea below them. So that means that Earth is the whole omniversal physical roots of the whole omniverse. It's not just the Milky Way, the Pleiades and Andromedan galaxy that's visible from this portion of the Earth, which is mainly just the main sort of groin and genital region. You've got the whole legs to the feet and right up to the head of the whole Earth body of two bodies that are in embrace, masculine and feminine. No, it's not a round ball Earth. It's not a flat Earth, although the flat Earth does tell you that there's more to the body of it. But it's the line versus the circle side. What's that? Masculine versus feminine. Let's get them all fighting. And we're going to feed off that reactive energy when they fight. If we stop fighting and going, look, we've all got the answers. We just got to go with everyone with the right stuff. Now I've got the soul information that all the religious and the spiritual people are missing. Here, have the fucking lot for free. This is your birthright information. I'm not here to make money out of it. I'm not here to make money out of nothing. I want you to feel and experience what I've felt, that I've had to work out from no choice, so I can emancipate myself from all this fucking bullshit myself. So once I've done it, here, have it all, everyone. This is the world I want. I know how to create abundance and then me become part of that abundance with hardly needing any fucking money at all for the resources to get what I need to do it with, okay? And then once we get rid of the money system, which is all bullshit, everything is Kabbalah infused and generated from our systems of law, government, medicine, housing, everything, okay? Then religion, spirituality, All of it is combined,
That's
infected, and
basically
then infected to basically be insidiously immersed into our reality. So it's an inorganic overlay that suffocates the organic reality. And it's like, fuck this shit.
that's
I'm
basically
tired of it. It's so obvious and
that's
clear.
basically the Sephiroth, right? It's making a business out of life.
Yeah, because they think of it this way. Yeah, a sucker's born every day. Let's exploit it. But how long can you keep on going down the line in the cause and effect sense doing that until originally you've got no host left? And it's like you're expecting us as the host, the original Mudger family, the core family, the tribe of Dan, the Hungarian land branch as well, because, you know, the Welsh and the Irish are the actual sea branch, okay? And we originally come from the sea, okay? And the original reptilian dragon races of the Aboriginal peoples of Australia, well, we've always been friends since before Lemurian times when we did a big healing project, because they got created by some of our fucked up children, these cat and dog mutants, and they actually wanted to heal, and they did the right thing. We did a healing project that was successful, and then these fuckwits came back at the end and fucked up all that too. But then we took over, we healed everything, we had a 1,500-year peace, and just these ringleaders of the cat mutants were the only ones that refused to heal. And we fucked up because we should have just forced them to heal, because they spent 1,500 years plotting to take us back over. And when they did in 1913, what can't you change in reality by time travel in 108 years? They put us through the split timeline blender that made us live like a million years in multi-tracks, okay, or different movie takes of life, because this is the thing. The real reality is like one big omni pineapple, okay, where it's ever expanding, okay, and physically and non-physically, you can be anywhere instantly, magnetically. Manifest everything so frictionlessly and instantly when there's no trauma or anything like that. But then once they created the first trauma, and then once they came back after this 1,500-year peace, and they went, okay, we're going to manipulate all this trauma and the ripping the fabric of reality, and we're going to put it all into a minced meat split timeline blender, okay? It's going to continually diminute life until it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right.
Until there's nothing left but shit sludge, okay? Because they're literally going, okay, we're just going to party on our road to nowhere, highway to hell. And because we're a mind separated from all of the senses, and the only aphrodisiac we can get is power to actually prove our existence, because there's no reason for being. And it just goes, oh, well, we'll show a reason for being. We'll just fucking fuck everything up and obliterate it and prove that we're right. What's the fucking point of that? Then you got no game to play with either.
Yeah.
You keep on weaponizing your pain so you never have to face your soul, so you can do it. That's just a little shit that refuses to grow up. Fuck that shit. And what are all your Dracos and demons? Just your ugly little insecure faces to go, keep away from me. You caught me with my paws and, you know, red-handed in the cookie jar, and I'm just going to fucking pull faces at you until you leave me alone. No, I'm not going to do that.
I'm going to step to the restroom real fast, guys.
Sorry, brother?
I'm going to step to the restroom really fast. I'll be back in 20
Yeah,
seconds.
not a problem. You take your time. So that is it. It's a very simple equation how to take our reality back. We basically become of the magnetism again. We move that magnetism up through them as an organic virus. They have to face their souls. They have to live with themselves. Everything's crumbling in their narrative at the moment anyway. The more we stick to that, this is something we can do from home. We can be peaceful about it. And what? I'm standing here connecting to the magnetism, look like I'm praying to Jesus or something. And you say, as the Kevlar fucking riot police squad bust down my door and say, what the fuck are you doing? Or what does it look like I'm doing, you fucking moron? I'm praying to fucking Jesus like a good little fucking Christian, aren't I? But really, I'm connecting to the magnetism. That's what we used to do before praying was invented, so they could steal our fucking magnetic energy. So when you face south and you connect with the magnetism here, you make a magnetism ball, or like this, and you literally, you feel here with your whole body from deep within your bones, once you warm up in the engine and the stomach and extend it everywhere else. You feel that magnetism from direct magnetic south, and watch this. Watch what it does to my body. Bang. Pulls my magnet.
I'm back, brother.
Okay? Now, when you got everyone
I'm going to continue with the next question.
That force cannot be broken. And when we become that present in the moment of now until we become the whole moment of now, all of us, Our will be done as men and women of nature.
Can you hear me? I'm not getting any sound.
You're not getting sound? Well, they've cut it off because my sound is coming through fine from here. And I'm sure it's going to still be on the recording. And as usual, I'm probably speaking through damaging to them. So they're just going into sabotage mode.
All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you plenty. Can you hear me?
I forgot I had it on the earphones. I thought I had left it on the
Oh, that's all right, brother. So that's the thing. When we become all of magnetism, we can do that from our own homes. It's like, why fight the problem on the same level that it exists? Okay? We can, like, look at it. Our whole political structure, it's all cooked. Okay? All our politicians. Okay? The world is run by pedophiles. Okay? Unfortunately, it's an endemic problem, suburbia-wide around the world, where all these satanic fucking Masons and all the rest of it are basically involved in all this pedophilia. You shouldn't even call it pedophilia because they love being called lover of children. That's what it means. They're child molesters. And the child molesting is just a front for the satanic ritual abuse where they eat fucking babies and blood and human sacrifices and get into the most degenerate, deplorable behavior. And this is what these leaders are all about. And they make, you know, Senate sort of things, parliamentary suppression, you know, orders to protect them. Like in Australia at the moment, there are 28 parliamentary pedophile suppression orders, including one ex-PM. And they've basically put it so that that can't be open for another fucking 90 years until, or whatever it is, until they're long gone. And this is how they constantly, generation after generation, get away with this corruption. And people have got to stand up and say, fuck this shit. We're creating our own court, our own people's court. We don't need their Marine Admiralty law fucking shit where there's a bunch of faggots in wigs and fucking barristers upholding the bar. What's the bar? The bench. What's the bench? The bank in Latin. And they're fencing. Like, imagine like pompous faggots, okay? They're playing a fencing game with all this sort of, you know, oh, what are we doing? We're fencing legal technicalities while you pay us a fucking fortune to uphold the bar. While we buy a new fucking Porsche and house, while we fucking clean you out of everything you've got. And they fence technicalities so the main content of the actual court and the matter at hand can't be actually heard regarding, you know, the child molestation, the satanic ritual abuse. And you've got all these fucking judges and magistrates that are involved in themselves. I've talked to many prostitutes and women workers who told me that they all go to these bondage and discipline fucking dungeons, okay? That's how they get off, because they're playing Russian roulette with people's lives every day, where 87% of every court cases every year in any Marine Admiralty court situation is a lose. That's how they make their money. And they allow 13 to 14% to win, to give the false hope that, yeah, you just might get justice if you're lucky. And who do they basically, who's their authority? It's not the Queen, it's not the President, it's the Levite priests, okay, that are Kabbalah sorcerers, that are the legalese language holders. And they have a secret Levite priest code book that actually has all the math formulas for the confusion of the tongues, the languages, okay? And 90% of the original Mudja symbols, okay, Aramaic, that's a dialect, Babylonian dialect of Mudja language, got nothing to do with Hebrews, okay? They spoke Assyrian at the same time, okay, in those Sumerian times. They didn't speak it. They stole it all off from us, okay? They plotted to take us over. They're invited into Ur to come and live in a multiracial city with everyone else living under the same natural law, where everyone can believe what they want and all that sort of stuff, but you've got to obey the same natural law, okay? And that's why it works. This is why the Zionist multicultural policy doesn't work, okay? Because not all cultures treat themselves as equal. But when you have a multiracial policy where everybody obeys the same natural law, it all works. It's that simple. And Carthage was like that until the Romans sent cholera in there to break it all up. That was a Mudja healing city, okay? There's many of them throughout history, but they've rubbed them out from history because they don't want the example of that, okay? They've even rubbed out the first Homo sapien body and the body before the Cro-Magnon because they were perfect. And they only give us access to the bodies that they made with all their mutated experiments because they're into genetic butchery. We're not. We create perfectly designed bodies that are practical. And also, they can change and adapt to whatever nature environment that they're working in. Okay, we never had any white or black to begin with. The closest to white was oak. The closest to black was brown or blue. You mix brown and blue together, then you get black. Where's the natural black, the melon? It's from the womb, inside the feminine. Where's the yellow? That's the natural sulfur in all of us, because sulfur is the main ingredient in all organic material, from plants to humans to rocks to everything. It's only the sulfides, it's disgusting waste, rotten egg stuff, that gives sulfur a bad name, that these reptoids are into. And you can smell it. No matter how much they shower their body, they've got this putrid sulfide smell to them. But
Wow.
sulfur itself, in its pure state, doesn't smell. Okay, so we've created yellow races and black races and white races as an aberration to basically create a racial divide and conquer strategy that's an empire building strategy. Okay, it's corporate. Okay, it's a strategic empire building enterprise architecture, systematic schematic setup to basically take over everything. Okay, what's the diluted term these days for empire building? Globalism. Okay, so it's a planned strategy. They created 3 extra tribes on top of the 10 original tribes to wash out all of the original tribes into white and black. Okay, so this is the thing. They keep on rubbing out all this stuff, but they keep on spilling crumbs in the table. Like when they rub out the official history narrative, well, sorry, there's all these language leftovers in geographical places and names, okay, and also all the styles of buildings, okay, the art styles and forms and things like that. And they haven't been able to rub all of them out. It's basically all these leftover split timelines that they've genocided and rubbed out and moved on from. There's still traces of it and crumbs of spills on the table or off the table. And once you join them all together, well, all life is in language. Not many people study linguistics. And linguistics is a really deep science where you've got to know all aspects of life to know it properly. But once you realise with linguistics, I can prove to anyone right on the spot in front of their face with linguistics proof. Like all the English people, you know, the UK people that think, oh, we have the right to royalty, all of us Illuminati bloodlines here, we're all Hebrew and stuff like that. Well, no, you're all Mudgett before you're Hebrew. Okay? All you people, tribe of Dan, Scottish, Scythian, stuff like that, you think you all got Jewish roots, you're fucking wrong. Because if there was no Mudgett first, there'd be no Jew. That's it. Jewish came along in split timelines. Mudgett goes all the way back to the procreation of creation itself. Back in the ancient world of sea.
What about Druids? Are Druids related to the Magi?
Yes, but Druidism is basically the whole Hebrew. Druidism is the perversion of what the original Irish and the tribe of Dan, all that sort of stuff, is all original Scythian Mudger. And there were the naval branch of the Mudgers, with the Hungarians, with the land branch, but they both had to know each other's stuff, okay? And the Welsh is another tribe of it. There's lots of Mudger tribes, okay? I've got all the information, as you know. I've plastered it all since the end of March, all on my Facebook page. If anyone wants to go diligently through all that information, you've got to find out everything you need, more than enough proof. If you could be bothered to go through it all and you're actually sniffing for the truth, no matter where it leads you. Because Mudger, it's got nothing to do with a nation state or Hungarians or anything like that. It's just a plain packaging thing, like all Mudger names for everything, because there's nothing of ego. It just says seed, or rather core seed family of all tribes, all peoples. That's it. And regardless of whether you started, you were sliced off illegally against natural law as a new race to basically be used as a chess piece to attack the original family or not, you originally come as from your soul back to this family. And the soul genetics, they don't tell you anything about, okay? And once you understand the soul genetics and how that works, well, all these souls go back to the original mother and father. It's a magical family. Okay.
Would you say that the original core seed family is essentially stemming from a virgin earth in what would be seen as an immaculate conception?
Well, basically, Earth is the physical roots of all reality. Okay.
Right.
The whole universe. Okay. There's that much of the Earth. There's about 40 billion miles approximately. Who knows? Could be more, a bit less. I haven't worked out exactly. But I don't need to work out the exact details. Someone else can do that. I know the framework. I know how it all is. I've got all the main bits. I've remembered all the right stuff. And I've spent 34 years focusing on this stuff while just about every other sort of person has been focusing on third eye rubbish. Okay, so I'm 34 years ahead of the curve in that sense. There are a few other handful of people that are focused on this stuff as well, that have remembered this other stuff. But just about everything out there is Kabbalah infected, except for
what exactly
work it out for themselves.
What exactly is the fish eye, as opposed to the pineal?
Okay, the fish eye is here, right here. You know how babies have, they say cradle cap and stuff like that? That's the fish eye, okay? And the thing is that the fish eye, when you ignite your creation flame of your soul and your stomach here, it's shining light up through your body and out through your head and giving light to the whole omniverse. That's why we're nature custodians from Earth here. We're the facilitators, orchestra conductors of nature here, so all the animals.
Does that render in a violet? Does that render in a violet ray, in a violet color?
Which specifically? Oh no, actually.
When you close your eyes,
the fish eye it's more of like infrared. Okay.
Okay.
Infrared is like, well, you can see into the dark. Once you've got the ether and the phosphorus together, and the phosphorus is the feminine side of the ether, the phosphorus lighting, so you can actually, so the actual ether illuminates in the dark. You know, you can see in the dark. Okay, that's all that
you can see the alanine crystals.
The which?
From what my understanding, they're called alanine crystals, or the little like they look like little worms of light.
Like Morgellons worms, artificial synthetic life. That's fiction animation.
Is that
part of the present moment of now? So
when you've
got fiction animation, and then you got real organic living and breathing reality. Okay, and this whole transhumanist world is fiction animation. It's programmed as clockwork. If you don't want to be programmed as clockwork anymore, get into the timeless present here and now, and then you can weather it all. And then you can remain calmer and more assertive, more consciously intelligent and interconnected to life, because you don't know life until you can feel yourself through it. And just know all life is to see into the interconnectedness of all life. And that's many textures and landscapes of feeling.
When you meditate.
I don't meditate.
Okay.
You don't need to meditate. Why? You just need to remain present in the moment of now. Now, you can do that with your eyes shut or open. It doesn't matter. Meditating puts you back into the head to observe your head. Now, the Vipassana thing that they do for 10 days in the Blue Mountains here sends people crazy. Why? So they focus on the breath here, on the head. If you focus on there for 10 days, of course, you're going to go fucking crazy, okay? If you focus on your navel, though, for 10 days, you're going to know the whole realm of life, because that's where you are connected to source, the magnetism here through your navel. This is the umbilical cord to the womb of life, okay, the grandmother and the father too. And then literally from your solar plexus, that's where the sun energy is coming in. That's why it's called a solar plexus, even in Greek. What's soul? Okay, sun. And it's the same sound as soul as well in English. Okay?
So when you say,
but you're not connected through here. This is what people have got to get. Mentalism doesn't connect you to source. You're outside the moment of now. It's bullshit. Our focus in ancient times originally is from here. We know life from here, the real master brain from here. And they lead us on all these, you know, Ark of Covenant and fucking, you know, Holy Grail external technology goose chases with the Illuminati lines to try and find it all. And in all that time, over hundreds, thousands of years doing that, of Rothschilds and Rockefellers backing all horses, okay, it doesn't care who wins. We'll just watch the show. We've got nothing. It'll entertain us while we sip our wines and drink our adrenochrome and fuck a few more children and kill them and eat them. Okay? Now, the thing is, in that time, they've distracted us from here, right under our nose, knowing all life, having our own. Everyone's got their own Bible here. Okay? What's that Bible? This is the whole Bible, natural law of magnetism, right here, under your nose. You just got to learn how to read it again. You don't need an external fucking book. Just remember, anything written down, that was uploaded from here first, the Holy Bible natural law of magnetism. Then they could steal it and turn it into the fraudulent Holy Bible, the Hebrew Bible. Now look at holy. They substitute an E for a Y, a consonant for a vowel. That never happens in Mudger dialect, but that's what they do in confused tongues. So they're taking the piss out of you. A holy Hebrew Bible full of fucking holes, omissions, and some truth, enough truth carrots to get you magnetically drawn in. But it's all put out of context.
So have you heard of...
They needed to externalize what was already inherent in us, the music of life and everything else. They needed us to externalize it, to write it down in a book, which is a desecration and abomination against natural law. That's black magic as it is, straight away, writing stuff down, penning it like that. And once it was all written down for them, then they could fucking steal it. That's what the Council of Nicaea did, steal it, and then basically recode it. So there's a surface story for the masses, and then the elites in the Roman Yahudi, which means Jewish, okay? Saturnalia cult, okay? They could have an astrotheology, occult stuff, so they could continue all their Satanism while all the Christians were basically doing everything according to what the surface story is, okay? Now, with the astrotheological people, if you're not saying where this is all ripped off from in the first place, you're bringing in the New World Order for them. It's the same with everyone teaching everything out of there. Unless you're showing where they ripped it all from. With Christianity and Islam, guess what? Christianity, before it was religiousized, religioned as Christianity and Islam, okay, as controlled oppositions, you know, against Judaism. That's why it's called Judeo-Christianity, okay? Christianity was all about the masculine principle. Islam was all about the feminine principle. Look where Islam is now. Look what they do to the woman. They shroud it. They cover it up. They make it repressed. Okay? It's another coward, weakling, bully, faggot. What's 32-degree Freemasonry thing all about? It's the Shriner degrees. It's all about, you know, the Islam stuff. It's all about the Kabbalah stuff. Okay? And then they fool all the 32nd degree Freemasons into swearing an oath to Allah before that, when they get inducted to 33, that most 33s, even right fucking now as I'm talking to you, maybe listening, you got fucking fooled and you don't even realize it. And they turned you into a fucking faggot, okay? They turned you into a fucking child murderer, desecrator, fucking goats, killing pigeons, all the rest of it. What? Just to have the mystical knowledge of the ages. And you thought, yeah, I'm being inducted into all this, you know, wild wisdom, that every degree you go down, you're getting further embedded in all this reptoid fucking toxicity. And by the time you get to 32, 33, that's it. You're so deep into this shit. How are you going to get out of it? They've made you literally a fucking murderer. They've made you a faggot. And you have to lie to your wife. You have to lie to everyone around you to uphold this blood oath pact. But really, it's just an organised crime syndicated network where it's like, okay, what's the next problem that we can exploit? There's a sucker born every day. That is so fucking unconscionable and fucked up. And they use psychiatry as a gatekeeper for these sorcerers. So they can keep on doing what they're doing. So they can alchemically fuck with people and turn them into portals from all the psychiatric medications and the petrochemicals. They've got even more toxic inorganic compounds and elements in them. The fluoride's the main one. That's why they keep it in the water. That's why they won't get rid of it in the water. That's why all the university deans and people like that, they say, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with fluoride. So we can keep on fucking around with children. Fuck that shit. It ends now. We call it out for what it is, and we keep on calling it out. Fucking politicians and all the rest of it, you're in bed with it. That's how they get you with the honeypot. They fucking get you compromised with that shit before you can even go into Parliament and be what you be there. We want to get to your chain jerkers. All of you move aside. We're over this shit. You think you can mandate all of this stuff, what's going on in the world at the moment with this Jonestown fucking global genocide? I won't mention anything else in case this video ends up on YouTube. Yeah, but we all know what's going on there. So the thing is, you know, and these politicians are just the fucking sales reps, okay, for all the corporations that are making a fucking killing, literally, in all senses of the word, money-wise, and also reducing the world's population to be 500 million as it says on the Georgia Guidestones. Oh, it said the author was R.C. Christian, Rosicrucian. Oh, really? Rosicrucian. Oh, the holders of the rose in the sexual ritual. What's the rose? But it's the anus, the Rosen priests. And the Cohen priests are the holders of the sperm. I'll tell you what their names mean. They know what our names is. My Irish name is Cummins, okay? And that's secretly coded for them. Oh, they're the come-ins. We come in, all of them. They're the seed people. Okay? And they've got all these, I'll take the piss fucking names for us. So we don't know what our original tribe is or clan, but they do. Because these names are slave ID and do not describe that which we is. And all of us are nature essences. So once you know what your essence is in nature before this fiction name game, slave ID bullshit, and you've woken up in the matrix and you've taken back your magnetism and you're governor general of your own soul, and you're sovereign emancipated from all their bullshit, they can never take that fucking back away from you again. The game's over. You've lifted the veil on them. You've taken all their veils out. And to take away their fucking occult mystical power, it's just a bunch of faggots hiding behind veils. And faggots are dead pieces of wood. And they love the fasci, their symbol. And what's a fasci symbol? Oh, it's a big bundle of dead pieces of wood all wrapped up. And they reckon they have solidarity if they all gather together and be like that, because those scavengers, they need to basically work together in packs, because one-on-one they're as weak as piss. So they don't mind them calling themselves faggots, dead pieces of wood, but when we say it, they get offended. Too fucking bad. That's why they created political correctness as cotton wool to insulate these fucking faggots. The English language was created by Levite priests, Jesuit priests, fucking sorcerer fucking faggots. They've all got these sort of, you know, twisted little fucking faggoty sense of humour between themselves, going, oh, they'll never work out the original meaning to this. Guess what Eve means in Mudger originally? It's got taken out of the vocabulary a long time ago. It's actually Ava. It means sex. But there you go, atom and sex. That's how they treat the women. Oh, a woman was made from a fucking rib of a male? You got to be fucking joking. Yeah, if you're fucking hybrid, fucking, you know, reptoid human hybrid lot, but not from the original ones. No, it doesn't work like that. You fucking idiots. So this is it. All this bullshit has got to stop. And I'm saying, and I can explain it all with common sense. Yeah, I can get into the out there stuff and detailed stuff, but I'll leave that for other people. But I'll give you the hard facts that the true reality of our surroundings is pretty brutal and ugly because of this satanic inversion that they've planned and strategized to do over thousands of years of split timeline history that's only been done retroactively in 108 years. However, what can't you change by time travel in that time when in the blink of an eye you can move from Atlantean times to the Middle of Ages? It's just one movie set to another. That's why when you try to look at the chronology of history and what the narrative they give it makes no fucking sense, because they're literally digitally editing. Okay, say for the Middle Ages time, they've got 10 movie takes, okay? And then from all those movie takes, they go through and chop each part of them and then edit together one final composite movie take from all those 10 takes, okay? They're digitally chopping up and making that from 10 takes. So hence it's going to be a lot of random fucking shit that doesn't make sense in the chronology in that sense, okay? Right. And then the original Atlantean era, that went for hundreds of thousands of years. It finished up about 70,000 years ago. Then we're on the 6th Atlantean fucking reset since then. So they keep on going back into time to do an Atlantean reset to basically edit what they did to try and get things over the line, what they did, because they keep on fucking up, because they don't win all the time on all these split timelines, okay? There's some split timelines with some characters they've had to disinclude from history because they haven't been able to get it over the line, okay? So, unfortunately, this is how fucking insane they are, and I'm just a sane guy, man, who's had an extraordinary, ordinary experience in life here, literally making sense of what happened to me as a young child as they brutalised me and all the rest of it. But, hey, I'm actually okay. You haven't heard me go into any of those details, have you? Because I'm actually okay. And the details I went through are so brutal as hell that once I start going into all that stuff, well, yeah, it is what it is. But I want to show people I'm sane, I'm fine, I've gotten through all of that, and I've got the solutions, and I'm pointing all of this stuff out, and I'm calling it all out with sheer common sense. Simple natural science of questioning, until you keep questioning something until it evidently, plainly comes into view.
Right.
That's it. And I make simple analogies. I know my stuff that well that I can explain it simply to anyone. But, you know, when I explain it simply, all the Sparkies get it, average people in life, you know, common folk like myself, they get it. But the intellectuals, they're the hardest ones to get it because they're so indoctrinated in all this intellectually colonized language that they're too happy to get a job in science or medicine because they say, oh, it's going to give me heaps of money. And mum and dad told me, yeah, if you get this job, you're going to earn this money and you're going to have a successful life. Well, material things don't make you happy. It makes life easier, but it doesn't make you happy, as we know. And before you realised it, you jumped into that job to get that position. You didn't even question the foundation, fundamental principles of that science paradigm, the dogma of that religion, and this, that, and the other. They got science going against religion and spirituality going against religion, but guess what? All of them are faulty models. So they just basically play one side against the other, two-party system. You know, left wing, right wing, same bird. Blame against the middle. The unseen hidden hand is the benefactor of that fucking clash in the middle.
Right.
Every fucking time. Republican, Democrat, Labor, Liberal, fucking religion, spirituality, religion, science. Even science is a fucking religion, the way they have it. It's a paradigm. But real natural science of the soul is no paradigm. You just keep asking infinite questions until you work out what it is. And then you realise the soul knows it all anyway, so you're better off remembering what your soul already knows perfectly from past lives and working out how to break through there than relearning everything with the brain again, with the intellectually colonised brain. And then when I go to a biological scientist, okay, evolutionary scientist, well, sorry, evolution was fucked up because they've had a malgenetic project the whole fucking time. Now, how can you equate with that, with your Darwinian parasitic science? You know?
Completely disconnected.
Exactly. So this is the thing. And then they get all fucking butthurt and then they start the character assassination thing because they can't prove any of your work that speaks for itself by itself wrong. So they go, oh, look at you. You did this when you were younger. You did that. And then they'll make up some shit and say you had incest with your daughter. And this, no, sorry, that's in the faggot image. That's in their image they want us to be in. And yeah, they've done that to our royal bloodlines. They've incested them all because they know how to steal the souls coming back through the mango swaps, to put them in new bodies in the Malta project, to then incest us. They cheat every speck of the fucking way. And yeah, we know how to undo all of this. We know how to create creation without having incest. And I'm not going to, for security reasons, go into saying why now, because no one's fucking mature enough to listen to it yet.
Well,
yeah. I'll shut up for a moment.
No, I appreciate every word you say, Gaz. There's plenty of time. Hopefully this won't be the last time we have
absolutely, brother. I appreciate the questions. Yeah.
So there's plenty of time to discuss all topics.
That's right. And this is what we do as Mudgers. We spend all the time it requires to get down the foundation, fundamental principles. And once you have that correct, it's like anything. Once you have the foundations right, what you build on top will last forever, okay? But if you get the foundations wrong, well,
right,
it's still going to go to shit, okay?
Right.
And
you can't hold anything up.
Well, you even look at the calculus, okay, and the mathematics for engineering and all everything like that. Look at the type of buildings, the adult cubby houses, sacred geometry cubby houses, where it's like none of these buildings that are built now are made to last. Isn't that telling you something about the civilization? They're ready at a moment's notice to just wipe it all out. The fact that everything is on digital, they can either wipe that out too, and there's no record or books or this or anything. But originally, everything we needed to know was inside us. We are the mobile, right. We're the GPS. The organic nature is the internet. And here they are taking the piss, getting us to work as slaves to get the money to buy technology so we have convenience of doing stuff like this, when we could already be doing it for nothing with our organic technology. And this organic technology today is more perfect and better designed than the crystalline junk technology that they make out of inorganic stuff that's modeled on us. Literally, you look at all the textiles and materials that they make all this technology out of, it's all rubbish. They weaponize rubbish and junk. And here we are. They're taking the piss out of us so we can get the facilities we need and work like slaves for, while we're basically farming, being farmed from their industries and working for their industries. And basically they've created a death program where basically we're only half grounded, magnetized from our gut. And there's all this oversaturated sort of electrical sort of circuits in more inorganic sort of elements and compounds they make with all their 9/11 resets. It even says in the 1933 occult periodic table, okay, you can find on Wikipedia, and it even says on it, oh, new elements to be discovered, still to be discovered. Whoa! It actually says there, new elements still to be discovered. How can you make the names for new elements to be discovered? Unless you've got an agenda already where it's like,
Right.
okay, when we create this disaster, this aspect of nature with the ore over here, and this aspect of nature with the ore over here, which would never naturally come together, through the disaster, they end up going, bleh, scrunched together. Oh, look, we've got a new inorganic toxic compound that we can alchemically milk and make more fucking money. It's sorcery through people by getting them to wear fucking clothes and jewelry and shit and fillings in their teeth that allow us to alchemically get to them through sorcery.
Well, you've heard, I've heard that the crystalline structure was actually the original angelic human structure in Tara.
That's what they want. That's what they want us to believe. That's a pile of fucking shit. Like crystalline, look at it. If you get salt water and you put it on a rock in the sun and it dries up, what do you get?
Salt.
Which is
Crystals.
essentially crystal, right?
Right.
Crystalline structure. So that's
Well,
so that's a secondary element, right?
well, I from my understanding, water itself is a very small crystal
No, it's
that
not.
is
No.
that is
When
able
water-
to.
Whoa. When water is fresh water and it doesn't have salt in it, does it have crystals in it?
But when it evaporates, it's a molecular particle structure.
Yeah, well, that's the
It can be
thing.
seen as
When it
as
evaporates, it forms a secondary element compound that's crystal, okay? It's salt, okay? But however, the salt water, okay, we never had salt water in the oceans until they fucking poured fucking salt down the poles to do so. And notice how that all the water on the land, okay, to come out of the natural springs and the rivers and the creeks, mountains and everything, it's all fresh water, okay? So if water's continually pumping out there fresh, and yet we have an ocean here, and even when they do the study themselves on other worlds and things like that, most worlds are fresh water. So how did salt water come about to be the norm here in the ocean and nowhere else? Because they had to kill the original fish here first when they came back here when we were doing the healing project with the original reptilian dragon races of Australia, and fuck that. And they go, the whole plan was to heal them and then to go back to the water, okay? And so half of the tribe basically became the reptilians in order to work out how to heal them. And then the other half remained in the water waiting for us to come back after we finished that, okay? So they, the cat mutants and the dog mutants, basically killed off the fish. Our fish when they basically came back and destroyed everything. Okay, there's a bit of a narrative I have to go into that's epic, but originally these cat mutants and dog mutants came about when they got endocrine disrupted by basically tampering with the masculine lines of the Amanita muscaria mushroom that was on land when we used to live in the sea before there were forests or anything like that, because that used to create the magnetic sort of essences in our environment with all our flavors and textures for the oxygen.
Well,
for all life to survive, right? So because in water you have H2O, right?
Right.
It's hydrogen and oxygen, okay? And the thing is that when we're in water, physicality in water, with the creation flame inside us, there's no thermal flame that can destroy anything in the water. And also we've got the magnetism and the frictionless of the Omni. We never injure ourselves. But when you're living on land, as is a more of a regular feature, it's a bit more trickier to actually equalize the environment so it's working as perfectly as in the water. But however, when we were water beings, we had the ability of shape-shifting coming onto the land and experiencing that too. But we didn't spend most of our time there because we spend most of our time in the water, but we could go onto land when we wanted. We had a few belligerent children that basically went on the land and started experimenting with this, and before they knew it, they'd ingested this stuff and had already endocrine disrupted them because they lived in a trauma-free world, okay, and frictionless world, and the power of manifestation was so instant, it literally started changing their male bodies into female and female into male, and then they infected other children to get into it. And then when all the other children had graduated and learnt the natural law and were ready to go with their significant magnetic partners off to create omniverses themselves, they basically hijacked the whole thing, stole the original mother, raped her, desecrated her, stole her eggs and killed her. So this is what endocrine disruption will lead even family members to do to their parents. This is why endocrine disruption in a fully blown sense will make you biologically fucking deranged, worse than any mental illness. And why isn't there fucking, a psychiatric disorder against that?
Well, that's a direct symptom of
Yeah, endocrine disruption in a fully blown sense is what makes this whole evil genius thing and the antithesis of living and breathing life itself, because it's so envious. It wants to be that, but it did a shortcut thing to try and weaponize it, because when you take the masculine side, the monatomic gold, okay, of the mushroom lines, it will give you an ascended consciousness. It's the only way you can hack the consciousness before your responsibility to actually manifest and take that on. So if you've got a really poor sort of mindset of being, and you don't have the responsibility yet that you can proactively demonstrate that you know natural law, even though the Bible of magnetism is right here, it's transparent, there's no reason to go against it. Now, if you basically have these ascended abilities before you have the responsibility, like during their sex rituals and that, when they gobble it like anything, they start making manifestations that are diabolical, that create all the disaster and shit in the world, okay? This is how they hacked it. And it turned them all into junkies. And they've been that way for 2.2 million years, roughly speaking, since. And getting worse. And it was only at this time we could take things back, because they trapped our eagle of the sun, the Turul, at that time when they took over the ancient world of sea, that caused the fall of Vilak Tunga, the ancient world of sea. And they then basically, stealing all of their mother's eggs and killing her and stuff like that, they then basically reborn themselves with AI and shit like that, to be born in blood as cat and dog mutants that are parasites, that are land-based and not sea-based. And then they start fucking munching up everything. And they did it at Aldebaran, which is the female heart valve of the omniverse, the worst possible place they could do it. And they were told, you fuck with this part of nature and you could potentially destroy all life. But what they do, they went and did it anyway. Before they even realised, the consequences of doing such a full action, they're already into it and part of it.
Wow.
So I'm just explaining what happened, because once people eventually do enough soul centering and remember all this stuff for themselves, they'll see for themselves. And they'll remember other details I haven't remembered yet, because I don't want to remember everything by myself. I actually want to remember a whole heap of stuff with other people so I can experience it with other people, because it's pretty fucked up when you have to remember everything by yourself and then prove it to everyone else and then say, you're crazy, you're crazy. We're going to point our finger at you because we won't face ourselves, because we're too comfortable with our state of discomfort and we don't have to look at ourselves. So we're just going to keep on gaslighting and pointing the finger at you being the black sheep. Fuck off. So I'm going to wait until some people are ready before I'm going to reveal more details on some stuff, but I'm going to give them all the key foundational structures of what the real history has been and how it all went to shit. You know how it all went to shit now. Fully blown endocrine disruption is a serious clinical terminal biological condition, but it can be healed. All you got to do is start drinking clean distilled water for a start. It's not fluoridated, not full of, chlorine and other crap, co-contaminants that get sucked up into your enzyme cells. That's what fluoride does. It opens the porosity of your enzyme cells to suck up more co-contaminants with it. They love the fucking fluoride.
What about your salt intake?
My salt intake gets less and less because in these bodies we do require, lipids, oil, salt, water, and what's the other one? I can't even think at the moment. But anyway, what the point is, salt, essentially, we didn't need salt in our first Homo sapien bodies. Very little of it. There's a bit of rock salt, which is more natural, okay? But that's more of a byproduct of our essences, okay?
What about alkalinity? Do you attempt to eat on an alkaline greens or ketogenic diets or anything like that?
Well, basically speaking, it doesn't matter whether you eat meat or plants. It's all cannibalism. It's all eating our brothers and sisters.
Right.
Okay? So we lived off the essences originally, where we magnetized all the animals and plants. We lived from the essences and fruits of all of that, okay? And everything, the physicality of everything was kept intact. So, and then what they did was they started splitting up all nature and stripping us and mixing our genetics with nature's genetics, so we'd have to parasite that and eat it to become like them, you know, predators as well. But the more you get magnetized, the less you have to eat, okay? Full stop. But you do have to look after your body. You have to get the right things into your body to get it clean and functional in the first place. So, yeah, I do have a lot of green things. I have all the spirulinas. I have all the chlorellas and the greens. And, you know, I mix all the feminine things together. I make all these different drinks that align themselves properly so I can work properly. All you need to do is have a whole heap of sulfates and phosphates to get all the magnetic charge and electrical charge from nature and communication from nature. Okay? Sulfates give you soul communication and magnetic charge from non-hybrid plants in nature. The same with the phosphates. You get electrical charge and spirit information from nature from the phosphates. And if you line up magnesium, calcium, potassium, sodium, sulfates and phosphates, then you have a clean bridge between the magnetism and electricity. You don't need as many electrical bands to plug into. They got this wide array of toxic electrical pin bands, you know, like look at those electrical pins you see in some sound systems, stuff like that. You don't need all that shit. Okay, when you've got enough magnetism that's aligned with the right sort of secondary elements that are still organic, because they're going from sulfate to phosphate in the same line of elements, bingo, it works. It's so easy. And then you have a nitrogen bridge that connects the magnetism with the electricity. It gives us all our higher top end, lovely flowery curves and things, the good feelings and stuff like that. But then they fuck that up too. They make it all heavy with nitrates, which is the yang, the masculine part, okay, of the nitrogen, okay? But there's not enough curves, nitrites, okay? That's where all the curves come from. And if you take all the curves out of life, that makes everything sharp, brittle. Injure yourself. All the curves allow us to bounce, to move. It's like then you can do martial arts properly without injuring yourself.
So I reached a point where I was feeling that empathy of plants and animals being my brothers and our brothers and sisters.
Right.
And naturally, I stopped eating meat. I became vegan in a sense, and I stopped eating any plant that would end its life cycle for the purpose of my consumption.
Well, even hybrid plants are toxic as all fuck. And this is what Bill Gates is doing. He's making all this commercialized sort of commercial waste from hybrid fucking plants, you know, to make all this, you know, soy and shit burgers and everything, okay?
Yeah, they've contaminated all the food.
It's real rubbish sort of hybrid vegetable waste sort of fucking, it's not good food, okay?
Well, any fruit.
Like if you've got to be vegan, you've got to have your shit together, just like the same. If you're eating meat, you've got to make sure that you're eating meat that's organic. The meat has been looked after, well, in the sense that the animals are being loved up until the moment of death, and they don't even know when they're being killed. Like we were the ones that taught the halal and kosher butchers what to do. Because in this distortion, we're going to go, okay, because you made us parasites and stuff like that, you need to know how to cut properly without doing harm, okay? And slice and dice and all that sort of stuff. We taught them all how to use knives and sharp objects and stuff like that, so you don't actually do harm. You can do stuff properly. And then when you kill the animal, it doesn't know it's been killed because it's been loved so much, so it doesn't have trauma through the meat. Okay?
Okay. So do you think?
Okay, because you put us in this situation, we'll show you the best ways to deal with that, to do the minimum harm while you put us in a stupid fucking predatory situation.
I heard the Navajos
We're
say that.
constantly fixing their rubbish all the time, showing them, okay, you've made us all like this. Okay, at least we'll show you how to fucking do this, doing the minimum harm since you put us in this bullshit anyway.
I've heard the Native American tribe, the Navajos, talk about raising animals very lovingly and not allowing them to feel the moment of death or
Exactly.
pulling out the knife in front of them.
That animal knows, okay, that it will actually be killed. But the thing is that that animal wants to become part of you, to heal through you, to help all the rest of the animals eventually heal all the hybrid animals, okay? So it wants to have the experience of healing through you because you're being so kind to it and you're looking after it well. So at least it can come back to be you. It'll choose you and pick you out, okay? If you're treating it the right way, if it can feel your magnetism, the fact that you have empathy and compassion for it, and you're going, yeah, this is shit. The fact that you're being farmed like this as a hybrid animal, and you're being made weaker by being made hybrid as well. Because they have hybrid animals have weaker bones and structures and that than sort of first generation animals, you know.
So would you say me feeling that empathy to have that type of diet of basically no harm was a moment of remembrance of my own past?
Yeah.
Is that kind of the types of remembrances you have by like coincidental agreements that you begin to have within yourself?
Well,
resonances?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like when you say, for instance, when I go up to a plant in nature, okay, and there's something on that plant that I want for medicine or to eat or for whatever purpose, I literally get the leaf, okay, of this plant, okay, whatever it is, okay. And I go, okay, I feel, I communicate with it. I go, I need this flower, I need this medicine to help heal the body of Ishtan because I've trashed her so much, I folded her circle. And for her to be able to sing again properly, I've got to heal her body. And when I tell the plant that, okay, I communicate, I don't actually talk to it telepathy, I feel it with my soul. I feel communicate. And when the plant gets that, like instantly, bang, I don't even have to try to break that off. It just gives it to me. It's like even if it's a shit, I'll give a little pull, and if it's a tough branch or something like that, it just comes off. Now, if you go up to a plant and you don't have that respect, okay, equal respect for it, and to actually communicate, to say, this is why I need to use you at the moment. I'm sorry to desecrate you, but we need this at the moment so we can put this all back together eventually, you know, and properly live in the right way, as we were perfectly designed to be. And I know that you've been waiting for us humans to get our fucking shit together again, to speak the original music language, so we can be the orchestra conductors for all of you, so we can all do a better job together, okay? So that's our job here. And if you go up to a plant and you don't have those intentions and you just go up to the plant and you just go grab, pull off, now that plant has already smelt your game before you've even come to actually grab something. So you know what the plant does? It retracts all of its juices and everything woof, right down into the stem magnetically, instantly. So what you're pulling off the plant, you're not even getting much value out of it.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you actually go up to the plant and you communicate with it, and the delivery of magnetism is what the love is. It's essentially the same thing.
Right. I totally agree.
And you communicate like that, okay, that plant will give you everything you need. If you're being genuine, you're being honest, and you're not telling lies, and hence that's how it works, okay? We do come from a beautiful sort of magical sort of fairy tale-like existence. Well, it's not no fairy tale. It's like, this is genuine. And the thing is that your biggest fragility is actually your biggest strength at the same time, because it takes that light, delicate touch, feminine touch, to be able to manage the biggest forces there be with magnetism. Because when you're moving your whole body and body parts back into place, you can do it musically with the lightest touch. You're not in fear or anything like that, and it just happens. So you've literally got all this air from the magnetism. It's like having a really good bass sound. Okay, the bass is the harmonic rhythm link in a band. If you get the bass sound right, it's like literally having this big sort of cushion for everything to bounce on, and nothing gets hurt. You know, you're like on this sea of love that everyone's bouncing on, and it's grooving, and it's got this natural funk. You know, it doesn't matter the style. There's just so much space where everyone appreciates the space, because the space is the rhythm in between the notes. That's what the rhythm is. And if you've got people who are always cutting in on the space and not respecting the moment, you're not hearing the vastness, so you can't hear that fake harmonic rhythm of nature that basically you just naturally groove with. You start doing it, you're picking it up. And then you start connecting more and more. And then you quarterly connect with other family members, you do the same. And then more bums on seat doing that, more hands make light work. It's a stronger cord, family cord, we do it all together. That's the real solidarity. That's the real socialism. When we're all our own dogs and then we join up as family soul to do all of this work together. As one soul, one magnetism, one love. And it's that simple. It's not like a cheesy, boring fucking shit. That's what they do. They make a drama out of all this. Like a soap opera. They take the piss out of everything that we do. But no, we do this because we love doing it, because it's what we naturally do. And it's great. We party all day, we party all night, but we're constable. We don't have to write ourselves off. We can keep going and going and going and going and going. Stamina is incredible, because when you're that magnetized, you've got so much energy to burn. That's it. And when you're connected to the omniversal magnetism through the four main elements of nature, being water, air, earth and fire, and then you've got the ether phosphorus thing as well. When you connect through all of that, you feel that whole magnetism of everything. And until you first party experienced that, you can't tell me shit. You can't tell anyone shit about what reality is. Just being a vicarious sort of spectator, intellectual analyst from the back blocks, sorry, that doesn't copy it. You're the theorist, you're the hobbyist. So you don't know the energy. You can only speculate about it through observing patterns. Well, sorry, I'm not going to basically accept the information from some geek that's really stiff and rigid that can't even groove. They've got no music in them. The music is inside of you. Once the music's playing you don't need to prove anyone to anything with any material props, because you're feeling and experiencing it. That's the real God force, if you ever got to use that sort of fucking word. It's not a good term to use, because gods and goddesses require adulation and worship and all that fucking bullshit ego stuff. Fuck off. That's all the reptoid mentality. That's not the real mammalian human mudger mentality.
So how do you feel about celibacy? Do you think there's a such thing as holding your life force in a high reverence, that you don't ejaculate until procreation is
there's many different methods of ejaculation and procreation, and you don't have to be a repressed piece of shit to be free. Okay? It's like
what's being repressed?
The most important thing about orgasm and ejaculation is where you direct that energy. If you're basically having an ejaculation or orgasm and you haven't placed intentions before you've even started the foreplay, okay, and where you want to end up. See, they want people to have heaps of cheap and meaningless sex, okay? There's nothing wrong in making love and sex, but however, it's where you direct the energy and how you do it. And the thing is, with energy and consciousness and magnetism, you can direct energy in so many various ways. It's like people have got no idea the vast expanse of what you can do with that. And we're meant to be free. We're meant to be emancipated from all this shit, not stiff and rigid and like, oh, I can't do that or this, that, and I'm wasting seed and blah, blah, blah. It depends where you're directing the energy of that seed, okay? Whether you're by yourself, with your partner, or anything else. It's like when you look at the energy and focus on the energy and piss off all the soap opera drama on top of that means fucking nothing, then you're getting to reality. When you get present in the here and now, that's what's going to tell you what's real. Until you're in the present here and now, you can't even feel the magnetism that's actually around us the whole time. All I've got to do is just get a little bit deeper here now. I'll turn into a pendulum again. There we go. That's real magnetism. That's flying around us all the time. But most people are not present enough in the here and now to even actually experience to feel that once in their fucking lives if they're lucky. That's how much they've removed us from the present moment of now. So until you get to that present moment of now, how are you going to know what's real for real? By being a vicarious intellectual observer in the background, being a pedovore sports commentator that's always going on about whatever the fuck's going in the game. Well, hold it. I already know what's going on in the game. Shut up. I don't need this noise in my head. Why? Because I need to feel my whole body, all of it. If I've got all this noise going in my head, how am I going to feel my whole body? How's the light from my creation flame going to go through my head and up through the omniverse if all this two-stroke lawnmower fucking noise is going on, okay? So what I do, I rewire my pineal to actually magnetically work on top of my head where it's meant to. And then I can actually do work with that on my body. That's the best magnetic sort of antenna here for your whole body that can get into.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Anything else.
I was going to ask you right now if you can travel through your body or see different structures of your body through your fisheye. Mm-hmm. Can you travel to your heart and see your heart beat magnetically?
That's a good question. Thanks for asking it, because when you actually see into the astral, okay, when you feel to see with your fisheye, well, the first astral part of the astral, the real astral you should be looking at is inside your body. And that's what actually comes up here. When you're actually doing healing on your body, when you're getting really good with the feel, and you've got the magnetic flow happening and you can actually move your body with magnetism just like that, just that far from your skin, even with the t-shirt on, like I got now, and the rest of it, I can move and dislocate parts of my body around stuff like that without harming myself. It defies medical science and what surgeons can do. Makes them look like butchers in comparison. And there's some good, surgeons out there, but really don't need to do that surgery, except for maybe full-on car accidents and stuff like that. But then we wouldn't have all that sort of stuff if people knew how to do stuff properly and not operating from their brains but their souls, and using their brains to process whatever physical demands the soul uploads. So you do things, everything successfully with musical omnity. Okay, if you're doing stuff with your brain and making decisions, you're not properly informed because you're not actually feeling life, that's when you get injured and hurt.
Right.
But musical omnity, it's all a piece of cake. It's effortless. That's the thing. But things can get death-defying if you're outside the moment of now. Okay, the present moment of now. Oh, yeah, to the brain, yeah, it'll be death-defying, fearful, all those things. It gets magnified in the head the more you fear it. The more you keep on watching TV, that's ramping up the fear porn. We've got no solutions, but yeah, here, have some more fear porn. That's why I don't carry on about all my ritual abuses and everything like that much, because there's no point. I'm all right. I got through it. Worked out how to release the emotional charge from body. Anyone can inbox me to work out how to do soul-centered regression so you can revisit those destroyed experiences, when it made that initial samskara, that psychological imprint. It's now unconscious because you got memory wiped in the ritual or whatever. And that's such an extreme memory that it becomes unconscious deep in your spleen. Okay, and then, middle age, your hips start falling apart, this and the other, because you're carrying all this emotional charged load. Then when you release the emotional charge from your body, all of a sudden energy can move through again in the natural ways that it does, and you can actually pull your body and heal it back together again. That's what I've been doing. Like, my body's been an absolute fucking mess from being hit from directed energy weapons, like scalar weapons, the whole everything. I should be dead by now, the amount of shit they hit me. Because all your tendon lines and the actual joints in them, when you get hit heavy by radiation, things like that, they all start splaying and snapping like rubber bands and twisting up. And then all the actual tendon joints, like I say, stuff that was meant to be on the top of my head ended up behind my lip under here. In the back of my knee, medicine well was under my foot. And so you've got to move things back into place. And the soul knows exactly where to move things back into and stuff like that. Your brain doesn't. So you've got to trust your soul with your brain to do the work. That's the hardest part.
Is that kind of
your whole body? You've got to stop this thing from fucking going quack, 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 quackademic, quackademic, quackademic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You got to shut this fucker up. Now, the best way to shut it up is to get it to focus and feel on what the soul is doing and where you need to be in your body, and resonate sound through the music so you can actually heal that part of your body. And as you're healing your body, you can be healing that aspect of the macrocosmic Earth body or Milky Way galaxy body, because these reptoid human hybrid fuckwits just leave their shit stains around everywhere. That's all they do. They just shit everywhere. You look at really rancid homosexuals and the culture they get into, the drugs and everything, and the droppings they leave everywhere. It is so degenerate. Because that's what happens. You try and put two positive magnets together, what happens? Ugh, oh shit, we better create a drugged out alchemical equation so we can go, oh, it feels so natural. It's so fake.
Right.
That's why when two males come together, when two females come together, they've already got a male, well, the eggs are inside. Magnetic, I should say negative magnets don't have that sort of, okay? It's in the nature of women to be nurturing with each other, sisters supporting each other, not being in competition with each other, okay?
Right.
But in males, it's inexcusable. We are the structure, okay? We're the protection. We're the strength so the women can do their work, okay? Because they can magnetically know and do something just like that, okay? But we're continually torturing them, holding them down, stuff like that. If we go into the programming, well, that just turns us into repeat offenders in the image of the fucking faggots that do that, the coward, weakling bullies, okay?
Well, the male would be the appreciation, and the female would be the gratefulness, and together they would be graceful. What do you think about that?
That's exactly right, brother. They're compatible. They're different but compatible energies. That's why it works, okay? And the thing is that when both are not polarized and the woman's not masculinized, okay, and the woman's been masculinized by the faggots to basically have it over the heterosexual men. So this is the thing. The faggots are basically getting the heterosexual women and men to divide and conquer with each other by masculinizing the feminine and turning all the males into feminized man buns, you know, that can't stand up and protect the families and the children anymore. And when you basically grow up in a single mother family and you've got no father, it's basically the ceiling on everything to say, no, this is what's acceptable, this is what's not. It's not a pleasant job being a father sometimes in that regard, but you've got to do it. That's the whole thing about being a parent and growing up. You've got to make decisions that are unpopular. But the thing is, if the male's not there to make sure that the children don't basically run rings around the mother and everything like that and go off and be whatever, okay, and Australia is a full, like, nanny state sort of single mother sort of place because they're deliberately designed it to be that way. And in the family courts, they consider the woman to be of the fairer sex. Well, sorry, men and women are equally just as bad and good at each other, depending from situation to situation. And some will always manipulate, some will do the right thing. However, they flood all the Department of Social Services and places like that with all of these satanic people that are pedophiles and also hardcore homosexuals on both sides of the fence that, while they're meant to be helping children, they're going, oh, great, we'll just abuse them even further. Unfortunately, the horrible reality of this is happening everywhere in all the Commonwealth, you know, British Commonwealth countries and all the rest of it. It happens the worst there. And so this is the endemic problem in our society, and we've got to make it stop, and it's up to us. And the thing is that most people can't stomach and fathom how bad it is. Well, guess what? There's a lot of mainstream society and tradies and stuff like that that are Masons that are all part of this. And they fake just look like ordinary suburban people, but they're all fucking part of it. That's why the world won't wake up, because a lot of them are in on it, and the world runs on guilt and shame. And they know
lust. Lots of lust.
if they stand up for the right thing, well, oh shit, I'm already compromised, idiot. You know, oh shit, I'm already fucking, you know, a sex offender with minors and this and that. And I rape women astrally, you know, because they taught me how to do this in rituals when I was younger. So I'm going to keep on doing it and be a repeating offender because I'm such a weak piece of shit. People like me know the cycle stops with me.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you, brother.
Yeah. It's like I'd rather fucking die on my feet than live on my knees.
Well, it's our duty as a manifestation on earth to be
so men,
the harmonizer.
That support strength, the architectural engineering, like in nature. So literally the feminine can do its unconditional, you know, loving, magnetizing thing. and give its energy to all nature, because that's the nature of the mother. You know, that's the nature of women, to be nurturing and to be like that. But as men, we have to make sure that our do no harm, beautiful existence is in no threat. Okay, and if something threatens that, we've got to use all of our anger and force and everything to make sure
I have a
do no harm environment is not fucking stuffed with. So there's nothing wrong in righteous anger in that sense. You know, I had one friend recently saying, "Oh, you're yelling at your audience." No, that's just you sitting in the back box being a mentalist. Okay. You know, I've been choosing to be offended. Oh, you're so loud and angry. Well, sorry, I'm allowed to express myself as an adult any fucking way I need to, because my actions define me, okay? Not how I express myself. That's what adults do. Because when your actions define you and you're being conscionable, okay, and yeah, years ago, I fucked up. I was in trauma, but that's not who I am now. So do you want me to judge you and who you were back then? Okay? Oh, you're doing the same things now. But that's not me, though. So don't judge me and who I was yesterday, if that's who you still are today, okay? Because I've met myself at the real deepest bottom line level that I can meet myself in the soul. And until you do that too, who are you to fucking judge me when I've already been? So that's all I've got to say to all these detractors and trolls and things like that, because we need to express ourselves any way we need to with feeling in any moment of now, especially when you're centered, you're coming from the right place. But you listen to my tone for this whole conversation, I'm pretty chilled for most of it, but for some stuff, it's like, it's really seriously fucking bad. Well, if you're not fucking angry about it, there must be something fucking wrong with you.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with anger. They do this politically correct thing to go, oh, a polite sort of English faggoty hearts. It's like, we talk like this. And this way, because we're polite, we were able to murder and rape the world and steal and scam from everything and make a funny little joke about it like this. And you think we're genuine, honest, because we're coming from this polite disposition. Just because you're polite doesn't mean you're not fucking evil. You're doing evil.
Right. Okay? That same passion has led me to create a YouTube channel, and I talk about symbiosis with all of the Earth's kingdoms, and about natural law and the universal laws that came along with the knowledge of natural law, to be able to live together, essentially, from both hemispheres in symbiosis.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when, like, even if you're looking at left and right brain. Okay, left brain's masculine, right brain's feminine, but when you're centered between the two, okay,
brings you back to magnetism.
That's it. It's like in Kabbalah, they go, oh, it's between two poles. Why should I balance good versus bad, light versus? That's bullshit. Okay? There's no such thing as fucking two poles in space, like I said as before. Once you're omni, what would you rather live in? Reverse polarized fucking stereo or complete omni when you're there's no comparison.
That's what they've created is a polarization.
Yeah.
That's taken us away from the center point of the magnetism.
Mm-hmm. It's like even in the carry-on glyphs, right in the middle of the glyphs there, okay? In the center point of the glyphs, where you stand in there, the most magnetizing space you can stand in there, you actually got a 3-glyph set. It's got an arrow, okay? It's got an arrow. That's the center symbol, and that's the arrow there. And when you're centered, it's pointing up to the X. Where's the X? The chiasmus structure in your brain, where all your soul, totem, spirit aspects merge together as one between your two temples. That's the T.
Okay.
Now, it's got that, the arrow, the cross, and the T. And it's telling you on the glyphs that this is the only way you can read these glyphs and to actually feel into these glyphs and to know it and to connect with soul and spirit in the area to find out what the fuck went on. And we're explaining that.
Have you seen the petroglyphs in the Arizona in deserts? The Hopi tribes,
I would actually love to see more of that stuff, because the thing is, with all of these old glyphs that haven't been destroyed, okay, which is really rare because they've destroyed most of them, the fact that this one at Carry-On is still there is just a miracle. Like, because it's actually showing example. See, it's got all these various centering glyphs there, Now, the centering symbols, it just shows different various aspects of centering, okay? And these centering symbols in the glyphs sets are what ties up and joins all these glyph sets together, okay, and tells you the whole story. Now, without this knowledge, like the Westcar translations, like for the Egyptologists, I got no problem with the intellectuals of that. I feel sorry for them because they're not given the spiritual information, soul spiritual information of how the ancients actually operated. So they've got all these watered down surface meanings. But yeah, it's get some of the stuff right, but it's, like as I said, it's just a narrow band of frequency and vibration of knowing life in. But there's so much more stuff going on there in that whole history. It's telling you on those glyphs that the first Homo sapiens was seated there in that area. It's got a stick man there that's indicating an amber, okay? And amber in Madja means it's a collective word for the man-woman symbiosis. So you're not talking about man, you're not talking about woman, you're talking about both. It's just a stick man, and it's not denoted by any sexual genitals, okay? And it's telling you that the first Homo sapiens was seated there in that area. If you know how to center and read the glyphs like an ancient, then you can do it. Now, I dare say these Arizona glyphs that you're talking about, I'd love to look at, would have indications of all this stuff. And by all means, brother, if you can show me some stuff, I'll have a look at it. I've even got a friend of mine that's even better than me at reading this stuff. He spent longer doing it.
I plan on visiting the Native American reservations pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. The Navajo Indians, they got records of the Khazars actually crashing into Arizona Canyon around 9000 BC. And then they basically started their nonsense from there. That, you know, they went through the Mayans and the Aztec. They were the first ones they went through. And then you got in Lord of the Rings, Middle America.
Well, I think they turned the Native Americans.
Is the Americas from 10,000 BC onwards.
Yeah, I think they turned. In my opinion, they turned the Native Americans savage.
Yeah.
And then they didn't stop there. They stuck them in reservations, and then they turned everyone else's society into savages, sophisticated savages.
That's right. You're spot on, brother. And they've done this the world through. They've literally fucked their way through every fucking tribe with help of the Malda Genetic Project, with these 9 top people, the Octopi 8. And
did you say Montauk people? Montauk people? Did you say Montauk?
Yeah, it is connected to Montauk because Malda means Montauk, Alsace, Lorraine, dimensional activation. Now, you'll find some information on Bibliocopedies of Malta, which stands for Montauk, Alsace, Lorraine, Time Archives.
Well, I think the whole maritime birth certificate essentially ties everyone into unseen forces that are used for the cabal.
That's right. And the thing is that I knew a Montauk programmer in this life. He lived with me back in 2013-14. And they took him from his body in this life as a child and put him into another body and time traveled him back in the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s to be a Montauk programmer and their main sort of, you know, Man Friday for the Octopi sort of 8 and 9 top people. And he was their main Friday go-to dude to facilitate everything they wanted to be done. So he's a very cluey sort of person, and he's been significant people in the past, but he's also been part of basically their wrecking ball squad, if you get what I'm saying. All the homosexual priest activity and the creation of O positive blood that homosexualized all the Irish blood and genetics and the CCR5 genetic and all that sort of stuff, that literally the Irish were just as funky as, Black Americans.
Well, that's kind of like what
they got all themselves homosexualized, and then from then on they're only really playing sort of folk music and stuff like that. And they took all the funk out of their tribal stuff. Because when you got the funk, you're playing on the back of the beat almost late all the time, but you're allowing so much space for the moment to be vastly felt by everyone. So you can actually feel a life to, it's infinite sort of vast sort of feeling, sort of, it's not even
omnipresence.
Yeah, and if you're cutting into that moment, if you respect the moment will respect you. If you're cutting into that moment, so you can't even hear the faint hum of the harmonic rhythm of life, well, then you're cutting off your life source. You're an idiot. And that's what these Satanists do, you know, Illuminati idiots. And they're all being conned by fucking 9 people for controlling all their rubbish dumpster gods. You know,
Well, I have a big issue with this whole maritime birth certificate release of liability, emptying your vessel type of implied consent to father and mother at the macrocosm of the government level, our children.
yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that, oh,
It's horrible, man.
well,
I've turned all the stones, and I know very well that
it's
that people are being fooled, and people are being held at third dimensional, what I call basically 3-year-old kids. And they're pedophiles because they're taking advantage of spiritually immature kids who don't know their connection with God, with God
that's
source.
right. And God's within you. That's the thing. You've got a direct connection. If you're going to use the word God, it's from within. You don't need a fucking external collective middleman. Okay?
I like to say
Your
God.
connection to the magnetic source consciousness, it's from within. Okay? You've got the sun energy flowing in you from your solar plexus. There's your God energy right there. You want to use that term. Also, through your appendix and the music that you resonate through your belly.
Well, the word appendix is attuned to index. Basically, it's an index of the Akashic records.
You
In a
that
sense.
is the functionality of the appendix. It's an index of records. Exactly, brother. You hit the nail on the head without causing harm. See how in our phrases, all of our colloquial phrases, they're all of harm. This English language is just a cutting language. It's horrible. It curses us and creation itself. So we choose our words very carefully.
Well, it talks to our subconscious.
Yeah.
Right in front of our face, and we don't see it.
That's it.
Most people don't see it.
And so this is the thing. It's like as soon as we change our language to not have sort of words and actions of harm and things like that. Okay, I know how to basically edit the English language to make it half Mudger language, so it actually becomes more sort of, how can I say it, less confused in the sense that we don't have all these different contrary meanings for the same sounding word.
Right, a bunch of back doors.
But when it really comes down to the music and the sound of it, if you're using the same sound all the time, that's got just that original meaning. But if it's got the wrong intention behind it, well, that's creating diabolical fucking stuff.
Well, that's when you start actually talking to yourself. In truth, is when you know what you're saying without leaving any questions within that root word.
And you're 100% got pure intention behind the words you're saying, even if it's in a distorted, confused tongue language.
Exactly.
If your intention is that pure, that'll override the curses.
That goes a long way.
Feel that in the tone of your expression and nothing but, okay? It's in the tone. That's when New Age people come to my page, okay? And they get butthurt because I've absolutely trashed Kabbalah and taken it to pieces, okay? And they're fucking angry with impotent rage at me, because it's like, how dare you take the thing that I've attached my life and ego to make me a successful person and liked and popular and all this thing because I have all this dominating power over people, It's veiled. But really, you're just a two-faced fucking moron.
Well, yeah, they're aliens in a Versace suit.
Okay, say, hi, brother, blah, 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 blah. I wish peace be with you and blah, 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 and all that sort of thing. But despite all the flowery decorations on your words and euphemisms, you've come to my page. Now, instead of basically contacting me privately and say, dude, I want to get to know more about where you're coming from this, and why you say this is wrong. I don't understand stuff. And I will tell you. If you ask me genuinely like that, I will tell you straight up. And there's no aberration or drama or anything like that. If you come onto my page trying to make me lose face in public, okay, in front of everybody, guess what's going to happen to you? I can smell your game before you even play it. I can psychologically profile you, personality profile you on the fly as you're delivering stuff, as you're presenting. What you present here to the table is all about you, really. And if I let you speak for long enough, you'll reveal all your intentions, okay? And the thing is that all I have to do then is basically go and say nothing, or because I really care, I'll fucking give you some tough love. And I'll fucking tell you for where it is. And you're the one that will end up losing face, and you'll be running away with your tail between your legs, okay? Because the fact is, right from the get-go, you've come to my page to expose me and to defame me and make up shit about me and my character and try and put some distortion in there to say there's something wrong with my character so people shouldn't listen to it. And I say, no, you listen to my work that speaks for itself by itself. And if you want to defame my character and hold everything like that, well, sorry, that's where you're going beyond the line, okay? And it's like, I will not take shit from any little shit trying to do that just to protect their fucking ego and their dominating power over people. No, forget that. I will call you out for what you are. When you call out something for what it is, you take all their occult power away. You take away their veils. You call it out for what they are. That's the real sort of truth, in the sense of it makes you basically face your own soul and have a conscience again for all your actions, unconscionable actions that you've done, that you think for some high and pious, almighty sort of holy reason you have the right to do this despicable action because in the scriptures from the fucking this and that from the reptoids that have conned you into doing this fucking role for them, that you think you're on a mission from fucking God. Well, sorry, you are fucking God in any way. You're an equal aspect of creation. You're an equal aspect of co-creation. The only thing that has rank is those who have the most experience of being the organic cleaners without doing harm.
The way I say it is,
that means that you just got more responsibility.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Doesn't make you any better than anyone else. It just means you have more responsibility. So if anything, you're more of a burden. Okay? But you don't treat it as a burden because you love life so much, you're so passionate about it that you want to do it. That's the whole thing.
We all have the same value,
you can
different
see
responsibility.
the potential of how beautiful life is and how wondrous it is. And that when you're in that present moment of now, look, even though I've had a shit life, I've had a scripted life to make me look like a loser and gaslight me and everything like that. But despite all that, I've had everything personal taken away from me. Okay? Well, I've got nothing left to lose, but still, it's still great to be fucking alive.
Well, that connection with nature you have is priceless.
Yeah, and you can feel, hey, guess what? We can turn this all around from our own living rooms if we all just magnetically, causally connect with each other and we just take this all back over energetically. We're looking at things in the wrong way. Why go down the same lines, linear and cyclical lines of the problems where they exist, when we can just get under the rug of all of it and magnetize everything, disinfect everything. If we all do it together, it happens much quicker, much faster, and it happens safer, doing no harm wherever fucking possible. Now, at this stage of the game, that's a very hard thing to do, very challenging. But still, with all this magnetic power that I now hold myself personally, it's like I have a rage when I want to that's worse than all their fucking satanic fucking impotent rage in their fucking fake hell. But it's all for the right reasons, for us, preserving do no harm life, okay?
Take care of our mother.
Grace. And yeah, exactly. Take care of the women so the women can do their thing and protect the children. Because if we've got problems and predators around, that's how we've got to act. But until we get a world where we can actually trust everyone to do the right thing because they know the answers already, everything's transparent, okay? We can't be content with mediocrity or complacency until that is there. So for every little miracle to the brain, it's not a miracle to the soul that I achieve, I still go, okay, we've got to create more miracles, okay? I can't rest now. I can't be complacent. I can't sit back. It's like I challenge myself further to be even better than I can be. Because that's the true way of doing it. And you know what? We revel in it. And that's what gives you confidence, the fact that you can sort out problems and solutions yourself, okay? and you're doing it with your own soul, and then when you're cordially bouncing with other family members, it doesn't matter who comes up with the best idea, like the icing on the cake at the end. That idea had to bounce through everybody to get to that place. And some days you'll be the last one with the icing on the cake. Some days you'll be the first one with the impetus idea. It doesn't matter which part of the chain you come in. It's like everyone helped to come to that knowing.
Right.
This is what a real round table situation is about. And all I am is a facilitator that makes sure that everyone has their voice heard and that the best idea wins through and we all agree on it. And sometimes that's really intense and passionate.
Good point.
In how we basically discuss stuff, okay? But there's nothing wrong because we all know that this is the common good that we're all coming to.
Absolutely.
So we don't hate each other. Afterwards, we have a good laugh to each other about, we got a bit heated about that and that. But that's because we all care so much. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's when people don't care and it's like...
Or they get offended and defensive.
Yeah, and it's like they're going, oh, no, but it's all about me. No, fucking forget about you. The best way to be you is to be your own dog first, your own best friend, and look after yourself properly. And then you're in a position capable of helping someone else. And then when you merge cordially with the rest of the tribe in true solidarity in socialism, real socialism, then it all works together because we're not all being codependent on each other, looking for other answers. We all have the same foundation, fundamental principles that we work from. But then everyone uniquely works out everything else above that for themselves because everyone's different. That's why we all have different nature aspects. And that's why it's like, then we go, okay, I go with this family member, this sister or brother over here. Oh, look at the way you do it. That's different from the way I do it, but we get the same result. But then you get this over here and that, and when we combine the way you do it and I do it, it produces something greater than the both of us. Then we combine it with the rest of the family over there. It's a win-win-win-win-win situation where we constantly evolve and get more consciously, fluidly intelligent together, okay? Instead of having a meritocracy society that keeps children down and other people down because, oh, no, I worked 30 years, 40 years to have this title, and I'm not doing it up like that. And so, sorry, children are meant to be smarter than us. That's the whole process.
They want to keep us feeble.
Yeah. That's why the original mother and father decided to have children and the whole everything, because they're going, okay, we've done as much as we can on our own to a certain where it's at now. Now let's birth ourselves into having children and connected with nature and too, so they can do a better job than us and we can become part of that too. So we're creating abundance through our children and we become part of that abundance through the children. Then we're keeping up with our children. That keeps us on our toes too, because once our children learn all the fundamental basics and they can go off and create their own omniverse, we can trust them because they've got our values of the foundation fundamental principles. And then they work out things and take it so much further than we ever took it, because that's the whole point of procreating life, for life to just keep on getting better and better and better
Exactly.
and more infinite, and it just grows. But when you get a bunch of people that, we just had a few children that just fucked up. And unfortunately for those children that fucked up, well, regardless of the fact that they 100% fucked up, the parents, we go, well, we've got to clean it all up anyway. But they're taking advantage of that, going, okay, we'll keep on shitting around and making mess and you just keep on cleaning up anyway. And we'll just absolve ourselves from any responsibility and we'll just basically prove you were wrong in the end, because we'll never submit to the fact that we were wrong, okay? And we'll continue until we obliterate everything, because we're so far gone. The only way we can see getting peace is to completely obliterate anything, and then we'll rest and have some peace then. It is so insane, but this is the whole psychopathic, insane sort of psychological profiling behind a fully blown, endocrine disrupted psychopath, sociopath that literally has no care for all life, because it weaponizes its pain so it never actually has to face its own conscience again in its soul. So
you can see it everywhere. You can see it everywhere in the condition of nature.
Yeah.
50% of the forests have been cut down on Earth. That's endocrine distortion.
Oh, yeah, it is, because you cut down nature. It's like, what have we got to sort of live and breathe life, you know. Our
Well,
souls.
they're the natural orgone producers, the trees, the rocks, the
Yeah.
flowers, the
It's
birds.
like they have the photosynthesis so we can have air and they can have carbon dioxide. It's a perfect arrangement, you know. It's like it works perfectly. And you only feel the heat from the actual sun rays on your skin by the oxygen that carries the heat in this environment. Once that photosynthesis process has happened, okay, that air is carrying the heat in the environment, so the sun rays, you can actually feel it. Because they tell one thing at least, right? If you're out in fucking space, you're not going to feel the rays of the sun. Why? It's no heat out there. Okay? Now, they're not teaching this in science, in schools or anything like that, yet the ancients knew this. If you read James Churchward's book on the cosmic forces of Mu, Volume 1, on the chapter in the sun, which is the best chapter in all of his books, because he's another Mason retard that basically got all the information from an Indian priest who was the last in his line that could translate Pali, which is Magadhan, the people's language, Mudja, an early distortion of it. It's still Mudja language, okay? And he couldn't translate shit once that priest died. Attila Flint could, but then some Hungarian Mason stole all those translations off him because the Mason is going, shit, we didn't know what this meant anymore. So they trash all the information, you know, even the most important information. Then they have to steal it back off us. So we go, okay, we better voice to skull this one over here and try and prompt them into uploading the information we need, steal it. Okay, we can go and deal with this again. This is how it is, yeah.
Is Magyar has any relevance with the Magi Grail lines? Melchizedek, are there any Melchizedek benevolent, true Magi Grails?
The Melchizedek lines, as I said, Melchizedek himself was the top homosexual priest of the Melchizedek Atlantean homosexual priest order, where the top homosexual priests had a title called Yesu, I-E-S-U. Then you add an F, you get Yesu.
Melchizedek is a family name. It's a lineage. Is that what it is?
It's a reptoid human hybrid lineage. It's got nothing to do with the original Mudja family, as in the seed core family of all tribes and peoples.
Have you heard of Alhambra or MCEO?
Yes.
Azurite Press.
Yes, I exposed all the Keylontic science stuff in 2013, linguistically, okay? Because literally, I studied all that Keylontic science stuff. I've got the Voyagers books, I've got this, that. I checked it all out. I checked out tons of hours of videos and stuff like that you can pay a fortune for. Now, the thing is, like all good controlled opposition, okay, there are some truths in there. There's got to be some truths in there that magnetically attract you in there as truth carrots before they pied pipe you in the wrong direction, like they do with all their fucking psyops, whether it be religious, spiritual, or even that stuff. Now, the appealing stuff about that, it does give it back history to humanity and stuff like that that you can't find anywhere else. So it's one of their big chief rollouts. But you look at it, Azurite Press. As I said before, what were the Hebrews speaking in the times of Sumerian times, where basically Aramaic was a Babylonian dialect of Mudja language. Okay, they were speaking Assyrian. Azurite Press. Hello, that gives it away straight away. And then you chase down Azurite Press to a Rothschild gold trading company. That's what I contacted years ago. And then it's like in the language stuff, they're singing all these songs, right? I don't know if you've seen the video of Ashiana Dean basically doing all of that, singing all the songs and stuff like that. And the Anahazi light language and all this stuff that she claims is the first language, okay, that her guide.
Yeah, I did read about that.
But as I said, light language indicates the sound that comes before it. It's not a language in itself. No. You've got to have the sound to feel the weight of the magnetism and the phrasing of the rhythm and everything as it physically moves. It's just light language by itself. It's just like a flip-top head going, not grounded to its power source. You know? It's an idiot. You know? It's like Vivian. It's like Vivian and Young Ones. You know, back in the 80s, they had one episode where Vivian he had his head cut off, in a train situation, and he's going on the train track trying to get his head, but every time he comes up to his head, he kicks it like a soccer ball, okay? And that's literally what the elites are. That's what they're constantly doing. Their self-inflicted thing. It's all about the head. Number 9 is the number of the matrix. It's all about the head. Rho in Greek, which is P, which has been flipped from the 9Q in Phoenician, okay?
You've heard of
So this is the thing. They're all about the head. I just want to be the head. That's it. Nothing else. What about giving the respect to the mountain of the 3 hills, which are your 2 feet and your tail that keeps you grounded? And if you didn't have them happening, you wouldn't have any functionality or movement in your whole body anyway. And what about your gut, the main center of it all? And from here, you can connect up all your other medicine wheels. 19 medicine wheels times 19 meridian areas, regions in your body that make up 361 meridians in your whole body, like the Chinese acupuncture system. And all the Chinese stuff comes from the Huns before them anyway. They ripped it all off that. And all the Huns were Chinese before the Chinese, and the Chinese wall was built to keep those reptoids out that came from Timor with the Khazars and the Hebrews.
They say
Arizona Canyon, Navajo Indian records.
They claim alignment with the law of one.
Okay, law of one. Ra. Who was Ra? Amun Ra. He was a fucker. He was a fucker. He sent people through a mountain to memory wipe them all. By the time they came out of the mountain, they only had memory of Ra and no one else before him. And that's law of one Ra stuff. Yeah, right. But that's what they really like. And then Akhenaten came along further down the track to bring back the real Mudger stuff, okay? But then basically the Amun Ra crew basically edged him out again and brought back all the satanic bullshit.
So do you think that a law of one is inherently not a misconception, but deceptive?
It's a polished turd, yes. It doesn't matter. See, this is the thing about the New Age stuff. It doesn't matter whether it's the positive New Age stuff or the negative New Age stuff.
It's still tied to the same.
It's the same shit. Step down, oversaturated electrical energy that's not properly grounded. And the dark side of that always controls the light side with that. So basically, the light side of the New Age stuff is just controlled opposition just for the fucking script, so they got a fucking game to play with. Okay, that's it. That's all it is. It's all shit energy.
So they call it, I've heard the term 12-dimensional energy.
Yeah. Well, we don't have dimensions in real reality. We have interconnected omni realms, okay? Interconnected worlds, okay? Not separated dimensions with inorganic colors, okay? In each dimension, okay? It's like fire engine red or fucking puke fucking green. Look at the colors in the chakras. They've got nothing to do with natural colors. Isn't that a fucking like red, emergency red light warning straight away? Isn't that like a red flag to go hold it? And not only that, they've got black colors separating those dimensions as well, okay? So it's like they're all separated. Where real reality is interconnected. To see into life is to see into the interconnectedness of all life, okay? Just because we're in physical separation here doesn't mean magnetically and energetically we're in separation too. No, that's in constant masculine and feminine equals symbiosis. That symbiosis is always equalized in curves. If you take all the curves out of life and you make it into dead fiction, sacred geometry, scared geometry, sort of kindergarten shapes and objects that are sharp and pointed and that do harm, well, you're going to have sound waves that are like daggers. Doesn't matter whether it's low frequency, mid frequency, high frequency. It's going to do damage to biology. Okay.
How about universal laws? Are you familiar with those? Like law of cause and effect.
Oh, cause and effect is real, but karma.
Laws of correspondence.
Karma is a judgment on it. Okay. Cause and effect is real. Okay. It's like Nam Myoho Renge Kwo in Buddhism. It's like dedication to the cause and effect.
I call it, you slap somebody in the face, they're going to want to slap you back.
Yeah, like Nam Myoho Renge Kyo in Buddhism means dedication to the cause and effect of how sound works, okay? But however, before sound and light creation can even occur, all equal aspects of nature need to have instant communication that's magnetic before that sound and light creation can occur. And that is the fastest aspect of the Mudja language and the music language itself, okay?
The intention.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. It's like before you can have sound or light creation, you've got to have that communication thing intact. And how we do that, we be present in the moment of now, and that way we can instantly know something in our gut before you even see it. And but eventually you get to know life just by literally the soul feel and how the frequency and vibration actually has a flavor to it, and how it tastes and how it smells. And you know all life without even needing to see it visually in your fisheye, the top of your forehead where you get a clear view of it. And you get a much clearer view in that fisheye when it comes through than anything in the third eye. I tell you what, you get clear vision and remote viewing and all that sort of stuff. But however, you get to
like you say,
point where you know stuff so much by feel, you don't even need to see it anymore because you know that, oh, when I feel something this deep in my bones like this, I know it's the 100% truth. I don't even need to look at it. I know from experience that feeling. And that's knowing a gauge on feeling and intensity, okay? And this is how we knew all life originally. And they're trying to say, oh, you can't know anything by feel. No, you can't know anything by feel because you don't know how to be of magnetism in here. So you dump and project that all onto everyone else to get them to believe your fucking limitations. Fuck off. Just because you're the original sinners that destroyed a perfect creation doesn't mean everyone else is. And you make all Christians to be repressed and stuff like that. Christians, you're doing the right thing. When you're ethical and honest, that's all great. But however, don't be repressed. Be free within yourself. Be your own savior.
That goes hand in hand. That goes hand in hand with knowing that all these New Age interpretations and subjectivity of what things are even like the lineages of Ra lineage, Melchizedek lineage, these other different types of lineages are just schools of thought.
All the New Age
stuff. They're still the mind. They're not centered.
All the New Age stuff is the same as the Bible. It's just same actors, different actor names, okay? Different genetic theatre costumes, okay? And different terminology. It's the whole of the New Age.
Is that what you mean by saying that it's a cut and paste?
Yeah, it's a cut and
reality.
Paste. Yeah,
okay.
It's just a cut and paste with different rubbish decorations. It's the same rubbish, but just decorated differently. Okay.
Gotcha.
It's the same as polishing a turd. It's like a different turd polish. It's still shit. Now the thing is, same toilets, different toilet interior design.
Shit.
Yeah, same shit. But the thing is, that with all the New Age stuff, that's all Theosophical Society and Lucis Trust driven. The whole lot of it. And when you go investigate the Theosophical Society and Lucis Trust and where their origins are and what they stem back to and how it's OTO connected and it's all connected to what they call Thelema in Aleister Crowley and stuff like that. Now, Thelema the anagram is the male. And when you learn the Thelemic rites, okay, and the degrees there, that's usually the upper levels, Illuminati levels after 33, but anyone can go from the public and join the OTO now and just learn all the OTO degrees there. Now, the first 5 degrees teach you how to become a master musician in their sort of way of doing things with all their Draco nonsense and stuff like that and connecting with that. Now, by the 9th degree, they're teaching you how to put a entity into an unborn child while it's gestating in its pregnant mother. Like this, you put a demon into an unborn child while it's gestating in its pregnant mother. That's what you learn in the 9th degree of the OTO. By the time you get to the 11th degree, it's all about sodomy. Okay? So that's what they teach you in the OTO and all the Aleister Crowley stuff. And Thelema, Thelemic rights. Now you know what Thelema means. The male. It's all about the male. And they've got a deep occult science about how to get the most out of sodomy as well, to basically pervert and put etheric implants in people and children, okay, and the big 1% rituals, and then they memory wipe them with scopolamine and other sort of agents like that afterwards. So basically, they've got that programming in their genitals for life. And if they happen to meet other children that have been ritualized in the same ritual as adults, they have this unnatural sexual attraction towards each other because of that ritual charge. Now, until you get rid of all that stuff, yeah, you're going to be mind controlled and programmed as clockwork to do all that stuff until you break programming and you work it all out and you do centered regression to see what happened, release the emotional charge. So you got here and now freedom again. You're not triggered by the same dynamics and semantics as someone talking in conversation today that puts you back into that place. But when you don't know where that initial psychological destroyed experience imprint comes from, you're just going, where the fuck is this coming from? Why am I going into this sort of dysfunctional coping behavior in order to cope with this trauma? But then when you finally realize, this is the seed experience, this is what happened. Right, I see.
Would you say that
then all that emotional charge just leaves your fucking body? See you later. Because that's where it's stored. In psychiatry, psychology, they're aiming at the brain to sort out problems there, but the trauma is kept in the fucking body. Now, what are you psychiatrists doing to release the emotional charge from the trauma in the body? I'll give them more psychiatric drugs to fuck them up in the brain so they can't access their fucking body. Fuck off.
Would you say that
alchemical sorcerers can use the psychiatric patients on those fucking, toxic fucking inorganic fucking drugs to use them as fucking, organic portals for all their stuff?
Pat, yeah. Would you say that those traumatic events to those kids and any traumatic event is essentially, or implant is essentially a modification to your DNA? Because I've theorized, or I've looked at the word ethics and correlated it to.
If you turn it into a habit that you define yourself by, and you're literally sort of programming your own genetics with that sort of rubbish, okay? When
Do you think you can change? Do you think you can change? Do you think you can change transmute your DNA through changing your ethics? Is ethics and genetics, do they go hand in hand?
Well, Bruce Lipton defines that perfectly in his epigenetic approach, is that you don't have to be victim to your, all these intergenerational cursed sort of genetical traits, which are really just carrying on the same sort of mind pattern and reoffending sort of behavior from, generation to generation, okay? You don't have to be a victim to that, okay? You can change your consciousness at any moment, at any time that you like. You can literally change your life and how you be at any moment that you choose to decide to do. You don't have to be victim to all that crap that happened before you. You can be
that's changing your consciousness.
And then you can basically reprogram your genetics in a sense of like
your perception.
Once you become present in the moment of now, you can merge. Like for all the MK Ultra victims, right? What's happened to them through the trauma-based mind control? When you basically go into your brain in fear and you give up in your brain, that's when they capture all your soul totem spirit aspects, put them all into MK Ultra jails, separate them all from themselves, and then to be able to program them into the front person, to be an assassin, to be a sex espionage sort of spy worker, this, that, and the other. And the front person personality doesn't even know the existence of all these other personalities in them. So how you bring all these MK Ultra sort of soul totem spirit aspects that have been trapped in little jails in your head everywhere, that get basically flipped into the, into the main personality whenever they get triggered by a sound or a color or shape, or they've got many sort of codes that they can fit people's behavior into. Well, when you become centered in your soul and all your soul aspects of your, I should say, spirit aspects of your soul totem merges one in your chiasmus between your two temples. Well, all of a sudden they get to meet each other again. You get them out of jail. Soul centering is the easiest way for MK Ultra people to break programming, just like that.
Do they merge back into you? Do they merge back into you, or do they continue to appear as a fragment?
Okay, they merge back, but then you've got to work on the behaviours. Okay, you've got to work. It takes about 2 weeks. Because we're creatures of habit. It takes about 2 weeks to self-discipline yourself to get into a new habit and stop doing an old habit. Okay, and the thing is that just because we're growing older doesn't mean you can't learn new stuff when you grow older. If you believe that, that's what will happen to you. Okay, that's part of the law of attraction. If you believe something that you can't do something, well, guess what? You never even give yourself an opportunity for that possibility one day to come along. If you never give up, you wait for that right moment. Okay, that right present moment in time where it's the right time, where opportunity, where readiness meets opportunity, and you go spontaneously strike and you get it done. And you literally achieve the seemingly impossible to the mind, because the soul knows it's a matter of timing in the sense of when to do something.
In the Eastern philosophy,
the soul will recognize when that opportunity comes along. But if your brain is not listening to the soul, and if you're not present in the moment of knowing for when that opportunity comes along, that opportunity is wasted. All because you weren't present in the moment of now to realize it and notice it. That's why the brain has to be the student of the soul until it becomes self-mastered enough to start making its decisions with the soul to augment the soul. You know? So, and I'm at a reasonably competent level of self-mastery at the final plateau level, okay, where I can do that now. Because I've self-disciplined myself and studied this all for years to try and make sense of what happened to me when I was a young child. Little did I know by the end of it, I'd be exposing the whole fucking thing because I'm so central to it.
Did you have to recollect your fragments and kind of put yourself back together?
No, because I never got MK Ultra mind control, and I'll tell you why. Because when they abused me as a child, I used to go so deep into my center naturally that whatever they were belting me and torturing me above, I was so deep within inside myself, I was holding myself. If I would have gone freaked out and gone into my brain, okay, and opened my eyes to witness everything all the time, okay, and see how horrible it was, that would have magnified that sort of pain and suffering. And you're placing yourself in a position that's vulnerable to giving up, okay? Once you give up, that's when they crack you. That's when they crack you in the trauma-based mind control, and they basically capture all those soul totem spirit aspects and put them in MK Ultra jails to be used as triggered altered personalities for different sorts of things. That's how they create Manchurian candidates. And then when they basically dress down the person, the front personality, after the events happen, the front personality hasn't got a clue because it doesn't know the existence of that altered personality that's actually an assassin. Now, that's not that person's fault, but that person, if they'd learnt to just basically go down deep into themselves when they're getting tortured, they're not going to get you. If you're not in your head for them to capture. It's as simple as that. So they never captured me like that. Yeah, I went through trauma still. I still suffered stuff. I still had dysfunctionality, but not to the level that they could program me as one of their tools to be a useful idiot for the joke world order. Like so many other people around me that are part of my family, unfortunately, they've managed to snare them and then use them as chess pieces against me. And they bet money and say, oh, let's see if this one can, you know, be a worthy competitor to have a go at me. They're taking the piss out of we as we fight against each other as they program as clockwork. The only way you get out of the programming is to get in the present moment of now and go, this is bullshit. I have nothing to do with this fucking drama and shit like this. But I stand my ground with the people that are going against me, saying, look, and it's gotten to such a point now that they've already started replacing people with clone avatars to do the job, to make it easy for them. I've been observing this for fucking years. They brought out Westworld in the 70s to show you, yeah, this is what we got. Okay, and we'll be unleashing this on you much later. This is how far of it. They had time travel, a genetic clone and human double technology in 1913 when they were ready to go because they'd planned it for 1,500 years before then. Okay? And that 1,500 years we've got very little history about, because it's all submerged under all these split timelines of all this rubbish history that have gone back and retroactively literally inserted into our history, all based on our real history, but stolen off us and then perverted by the satanic change of Jewish thing into basically doing it. And then through the Asian culture, they've done it with the Chinese, and then basically through dark skin culture, they've done it through the Hebrews, okay? And it's like, I'm not saying every Hebrew person or Khazarian person is bad, but unfortunately, they're the bad egg lines. But then you get some mudge of souls that end up in their lines too, because when you mix two bloodlines that are not meant to mix together, the souls from each bloodline end up in the wrong bloodlines. Then when they hybrid again, those souls end up other places and then other places. And they strategically do this with the tribe of Dan line so that we can never meet up again and sing together as a family, because they know if the tribe of Dan can get together and sing together again, they can do the whole work for humanity just themselves and get it over the line that way. Well, that's my job, bringing them all back. And I'm doing that at the moment. That's why I started my Facebook profile at the end of March again, slipping through the AI loops up, and I got banned for life in 2019. Okay, was because I knew that the people that would be most attracted to this information naturally in a magnetically sense would be old family members and other people who want to know the truth. And that's exactly what's happened. So it's given me a filtering process to observe, okay, let's see who resonates with this information, who doesn't, and which ones that go against it and try to expose me, trying to make me lose face, and they end up losing face themselves.
Wow.
So,
that's vile, man. That's vile.
Yeah, it is. And so at least this way, I've achieved a couple of miracles, and I have reconnected with a couple of family members. And some of them are like look, this is the thing. We're in cartoon skin suits now compared to our first time in sapien skin suits. So you can hide a soul in any of these bodies. That's why they're cartoon skin suits. And eventually that soul will shape the actual genetics of the skin suit. But these are all sacred geometry bodies. They're made too stiff and rigid. And the whole buff aesthetic beauty thing, that's just a waste of time. You need to have flexibility. You need to have movement, curves. So not only to be strong, loose with a tight fit, but so you can move and be graceful and live life properly. And it's like you got all this strength, brawn strength, but you got sort of no musicality into keeping it into control and order and actually have proper procreation, sort of common sense happening. Well, the world ends up like it is, full of all these people going to the gym and, running every day and stuff like that, just to be buff and just to look good. That's a waste of fucking time. It really is. It's like you can be fit and healthy and all that sort of stuff by being musical and flexible. Like I can do things. I've had yoga people tell me, and shiatsu people, how the fuck do you do that? You remain in a position for half an hour like that and you don't flinch. Well, that's what it's like being present in the moment. And now you just do what's necessary. And because I can use my magnetism pulleys, like under my armpits, on my knees here, to hold things in place for long periods, as I basically do fine sort of work in pulling my body back together and sort of tendon lines and tendon joints into place so I can actually shape my body back how it is. They turn my ass inside out, all my ass cheeks and everything like that, and all the stuff they've done to me. And I've put it all back into place. I'm almost there. I've got more healing to do. It's the wounded healer trip. It's like, wow. That's the thing. If you become magnetized, even though I'm still injured now, I can, if I still have to dance on a moment's notice and get straight into musical rhythm, I can go. Okay? Just straight up like that. No warm up, no nothing. And it gets better. Now, I don't run around the block every day. I don't go to the gym and pump weights, yet I can do that.
What, when you speak, do you consider a light body or an etheric body a part of the physical structure?
Yes. Yeah, it's all part of the unseen and seen whole body / soul symbiosis. Yep. And the etheric and astral are interconnected aspects of that realm. And it's from the auric realms of the etheric astral is you control the magnetism. You go around your body, you move things in and out magnetically.
Is that what they?
Without
Is that what
pain.
they refer to the 144,000 harmonics?
No. What does 144 add up to? Numerologically.
I just figured they're sensors of energy, like magnetic center, acupuncture points, if you will.
Well, the thing is, what does 144 add up to? 144. Just straight up.
4, 5.
Not
5.
numerology.
I mean 9.
9. What do I say about 1 for?
Sorry, it's about to be 5 in the morning here.
The 9 is the Kabbalah number of the fake faux pas matrix.
The floating synapse. I call it the floating synapses.
Like this 144,000 sort of crystalline fucking light beings and shit like that. Crystalline is what they make their junk technology work through. So if you've got no major crystalline alchemical fucking shit, toxic shit that's happening, they can't infect you with it. The whole Philosopher's Stone sort of ascended master trip is the biggest fucking con job you've ever fucking come across. They say turn lead into gold in your heart and make yourself all crystalline. Why to make yourself crystalline? So Senior Draco can walk in you and pretend that your oversoul is actually the Senior Draco giving you more fucking psychic tricks to fucking work with, right? And it convinces you that, it's just your oversoul of your soul. Well, if you've got a soul, why do you need a fucking oversoul? For fuck's sake. Wake the fuck up, you idiot.
I always thought an oversoul was your own soul at a higher level of recognition of knowing better.
In a satanically inverted world, it's like they say it's higher up here, but really, where does it all start? As I said before, if you don't have your mountain of the 3 hills, okay, your 2 feet, Achilles tendons, and your original tail, it grounds you naturally between your 2 hills. They're your 3 hills that make up your mountain. What's your mountain? Your whole body. It's your soul totem. If you don't have that mountain of the 3 hills, your fucking head can't do shit. Your higher supposed being can't do shit. You can't move. You can't do function. So what's really the higher sort of thing here that enables you to be mobile in the first place? It's so simple and basic.
Your prime energy, your
Yeah, and they say, that's lower vibrational sort of electrostatic stuff we don't want to know about because we just want to be that's all they are.
That is the where it emanates from.
It's
the
like,
passion, the zeal.
Idiots say that, lower vibrational being. If you know music and psychoacoustics, sound engineering, sound production, you know that you get dub frequencies and good frequencies in all frequency ranges from low, middle, high, okay? And it's like, just because it's a low frequency doesn't mean it's a bad frequency, for fuck's sake. Only an ignorant fucking dumb fucking geek fool would say that. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
You don't equate light with good. You don't equate dark with bad. They want you to do that so you don't look into the dark to see what they're doing, so they can control that whole realm. But, however, look at a tree. Look at the roots. If you chop off a tree at the top, at the supposed high top controlling vibrations, what happens?
It sprouts out to the sides.
Yeah, and it grows back eventually. The tree is not in danger. But what happens if you've got root rot? You've got a whole people on ground level all going, ooh, ooh. But it's dark down there, and we can't go dark down there because it's evil. And even though it's root rot, and the whole tree could wither and die if we don't have a look, we can't go down there because it's dark. Now, you see how fucking pathetic that logic is?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't
It's
make
it,
sense at all.
it's reversed. It's
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 like
irrational.
you got to be able to see into the dark like an owl, so you can actually identify and diagnose if there's a problem and how to fix that problem. So I'm a roots person, a roots being. So I've got to be able to see into the dark. I've got to be able to see into the light 24/7. Doesn't matter when I'm up doing stuff. I can always charge up from the sun portal even in the dark. Why? Because I can. I don't have to have the sun rays on my skin just during the daylight. It actually helps, sure. But I can charge up during the nighttime from the portal of the sun. Why? Because you can. Once you know how to energetically do it, there's no limits to what you can do once you're omnisensible. As I said, you're not just using each sense in a monosense way. It's like, wait till you start seeing with your ears. When you're listening to someone, and within 30 seconds, you can tell whether they're a habitual liar or whether they're telling the truth. Simply from where they're resonating their voice in their body as they speak.
Can you feel energy
Yeah.
as a resonance, and can you actually hear the electrical tone, like
Yeah.
when you get close to a tree as opposed to a different tree? Can you hear?
Right now, as I'm speaking to you, I can hear the fine hum of nature, okay? But before I actually tuned it all up again in source frequency and vibrations, okay, that are consonant and not of harm, okay? And I partially did that by tuning the fridge hums, okay? The G-sharp hum on the fridge. Why? Because it's ungrounded electricity coming into our houses. They did that on purpose. So they can send more ELF waves through the electricity to us, more mind control, okay? Put lily waves, on certain, I won't even go into that now because that'll just get me too mad. But I tune up all these frequencies. I tune up the road grinders, the drills, the stuff like that. Then I affect them to all of them worldwide. So they have nature frequencies. So the actual sounds are not dagged sounds anymore, harming old people and nature in the environment because it's noise pollution. Okay? This is the thing. They have no problems with tradies with their drills and stuff like that causing all this noise pollution. Oh, he's just a tradie. He's just earning his living. Fuck off. How about I come and play a rock concert at your door at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I say, oh, this is just what musicians do.
Right.
Would you appreciate it? No.
Absolutely not.
At least with music, there's some rock concert and whatever. It's actually a good thing for people. It's healing. Especially when you've got the right tuning, which they don't, but I'll get onto that as well. Now, I tune up all of these things so that basically when I actually hear the hum of nature now and the bird calls and things like that, they're actually changing their phrases now to how they used to be in a source environment, okay? And not the bad tunings and stuff like that they've done with the Kabbalah overlay. I've had to fix all that rubbish. And now when I hear nature, yeah, I do hear these fine notes. I hear a chord, and then I hear a rhythm that it moves in.